Chapter 51. The next day, Nangong Long and the girls went to a gathering of new generation demons held in the Demon King's territory. Rias was very popular on the road. Just like in school, she was also a popular idol in the underworld. After arriving at the gathering place, everyone took the elevator to the venue. While walking in the corridor, Rias saw an acquaintance. Long time no see, Rias yet, long time no see. He is Sarayorg, my maternal cousin. I am Sarayorg Baal, the successor of the Baal family. The church trio showed surprised expressions. They naturally knew how high the Baal family's status in the underworld was, second only to the devil. This was not something they learned after reincarnating as a demon, but something they had to remember in the church before. This must be the Dragon Emperor who defeated Phoenix, Sarayorg said. Nangong Long extended his hand to Sarayorg and said with a smile, Nangong Long, do you mind making friends? Junai and the others were surprised. Nangong Long rarely took the initiative to make friends with any demon. He looked down on the demon leaders, but he actually made friends with a successor of the family. Even though the other party was from the Baal family, Nangong Long would definitely not covet the other party's power and status with his strength. Sarayorg was stunned for a moment, but quickly reacted and held Nangong Long's hand. With great pleasure. By the way, what are you doing here, Sarayorg? Rias asked. There was a loud bang and the sound of something breaking. Sarayorg showed an annoyed expression. This is why Rias walked towards the place where the sound came from, and the others followed behind. When I opened the door, I saw the damaged hall and the remains of tables and chairs. Two groups of people were confronting each other in the center of the hall. Their momentum was growing stronger and stronger, and they were ready to fight at any time. The other demons were sitting around watching the fun. Even if we kill you here, the top management won't say anything, Sigvara said coldly. Who cares about you, UBCH? I just saw that no one wanted you, so I was kind enough to take you to the private room to have some fun, Jafadal roared fiercely. Just as Sarayorg was about to step forward to resolve the situation, he was stopped. Nangong Long placed his hand on Sarayorg's shoulder and said, let me do it, it's a good time to try out a new trick. Good darling said, a new trick, do you know? Irina whispered. Asia shook her head. Ah, someone is going to be in trouble, Akeno chuckled. Nangong Long walked to the middle of the confrontation between the two parties, looked at Jafadal and said calmly, don't you even look at your own moral character? How can you be so confident as to book a room with a beautiful woman? Stop meddling in other people's business, little BD. Jafadal was courting death. Jafadal doesn't know any Nangong Long, and he doesn't care about such unimportant things. The most important thing for him is to eat, drink, have fun and sleep with girls. Sigvara's pupils shrank instantly. She was not an idiot. She recognized Nangong Long as soon as he appeared. Moreover, she had accidentally heard the conversation of the elders of the family. Nangong Long seemed to have defeated the two demon kings without any damage. Since then, she had been asking around to find out the details. But every time Nangong Long was mentioned, the elders of the family immediately changed their faces and kept silent. They just told her not to offend Nangong Long and that it was best to make friends with him. With her wisdom, she immediately understood that it was probably true that he defeated the two demon kings. He's dead, Hij muttered. There was a slight deviation in what Hij said, because Nangong Long had no intention of letting him go from the beginning. The Red Dragon Emperor's caged hands appeared, and Nangong Long raised his hands to cast magic at Jafadal. Blazing fire flames burst out from the magic circle in his hand and hit Jafadal. At first, this move can only be used by roaring, but after becoming proficient in it, you can control it as you wish. DBP. Jafadal's whole body was on fire and he wailed incessantly. Save me quickly. Jafadal pulled his followers for help. The relatives around were about to come up to help put out the fire, but the next scene made them want to run away immediately. The same flames were seen burning on the bodies of the followers captured by Jafadal. And another person screamed. The demons around could not help but tremble when they saw this scene. They could not bear to watch this scene anymore, so they ran away. The smart ones moved quietly towards the door. Save me! The two burning people randomly pulled the people around them, resulting in only a few of his followers being left. After all, a little contact would burn the whole body. The rest of the demons were fine and ran away quickly. Sigvara also wanted to run but she didn't dare to. What if she made Nangong Long unhappy and he burned her too? The thought of it was scary. Not long after, Jafadal and others were burned to ashes. If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, you might have thought that this person didn't exist at all. The surviving family members ran away in disgrace without saying a single harsh word, and went back to report to the head of the family and then seek revenge. Unfortunately, when they did so, they were executed first. But that happened later. Seeing Nangong Long turned around and looked at her, Sikvera couldn't help but shudder and said, "Zero, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have disrupted the venue." Before Sikvera could finish her words, she was interrupted by Nangong Long. "Why are you apologizing? You did nothing wrong. Do you think it's right for him to want to have S*X with you? How is it possible? Who wants to do that kind of trash?" Sikvera retorted loudly. Feeling that she had lost her composure, she quickly covered her mouth and glanced at Nangong Long cautiously. Seeing that he was not angry, she felt relieved. After all, Jafadal was in trouble just because of a disagreement. "Oh, then do you want to come with me?" Nangong Long said with a wicked smile. Sikvera was stunned, not knowing if he was serious. She didn't want to agree but didn't dare to refuse. It's just a joke to liven up the atmosphere." "You're too nervous," Nangong Long said with a smile. "Hey!" Sikvera breathed a sigh of relief. She almost nodded in agreement just now, but had no choice due to the pressure. She still remembered what her family elders said, and of course she could not rule out the possibility that the other party looked much more pleasing to the eye than Jafadal. "And look over there, my eyes are about to burst into flames." Looking in the direction that Nangong Long pointed, Sikvera saw Rias and the others looking at them with piercing eyes. "The party is about to start, adjust your breath, see you later." 7 It's not that difficult to get along with her, thought Sikvera. Nangong Long returned to Rias. Chapter 52. Rias said unhappily, "Flirting with girls again." Nangong Long touched Rias's red hair and said with a smile, "My lovely princess, please don't be angry." Snort, "Cheer me, meow, I want a darling too." "Ah, I'm angry too. Besides, can you put away the smile on your face before you get angry?" "Junai," Nangong Long complained in his heart. The eyes of the demons around them almost popped out of their heads. They didn't expect that the Dragon Emperor, who was so decisive and murderous just now, had such a side to him. Soon, special personnel came to repair the damaged venue. Rias and the others found a nice spot and sat down. "Meow, what was that flame 630 just now?" "I think it's so dangerous," Hij said with his eyes wide open and trying to be cute. Sarayorg wanted to ask, but when he thought that this was someone else's special move, he held back. "No malicious cuteness allowed." Kurika pouted and retorted, "No, I'm cute anyway. How about we go to the private room over there to chat?" Hij suggested to Nangong Long with a smile. "No," Rias rejected immediately. "If you count me in, I can stand on your side, Hij," Akeno said with her hands covering her mouth. "No problem, meow," Hij said, patting his chest. Sarayorg thought it would be better for him not to sit here for the time being. "I'll go sit over there and come back in a minute." Nangong Long naturally understood what Sarayorg meant, so Changhe stayed here to listen to other people's special moves. "No need, it's okay to stay here." Sarayorg did not refuse and sat back down. "I swear by the House of Baal that I will not tell anyone what I hear next." "Don't take it so seriously. No, the so-called ultimate trick is to save your son first by letting as few people know about it as possible." Seeing his serious look, Nangong Long did not say that this was not a special move. Yanyan's flames were very strong, but Nangong Long had stronger moves than this, so it could only be considered a special move. The flame just now was Drake's ability when he was alive. It was also his ultimate move. It was the ultimate flame that burned everything. Once it touched, even gods and demon kings would be burned to ashes. Drake and Albion have long wanted to sneak into the artifact to regain their original power. Because the host is too strong, they are under great pressure. No matter how strong they are, they have to make it up to Par. However, Nangong Long did not let them go. After all, sneaking into the artifact was too risky. If they were not careful, they would die. He did not like to do things that he was not sure of. Moreover, after being together for so long, Nangong Long had already regarded them as friends. How could he let them take risks? Therefore, Nangong Long did not let them act until they had thoroughly studied the artifact. Hiss! Everyone gasped. "Hey? If he's that strong, Jeftal should die soon, right?" Rias asked puzzled. Nangong Long smiled. Because I adjusted the power. Bad taste, but I like meow. I really want to fight you if I have the chance, Nazarick said with a smile. No problem. After Kang Na came, they walked together to the renovated table in the middle of the hall and sat down. The followers stood behind their respective masters, while Hij, who was not a follower, stood behind Nangong Long. I am the successor of the Sikvera and Agar's families. I'm Rias. Kangna Sidi. Diodora, successor to the House of Astarte. The 5 new generation demons have finished introducing each other. There were originally 6 but one of them just died. There won't be any problem in killing Jafatal, Sikvera said worriedly to Nangong Long. It's okay, they won't say anything. Nangong Long waved his hand indifferently. So casual, is this the spirit of a man who defeated 2 demon lords? Sikvera couldn't help but think. The door opened, and the servant came in to lead the new generation of demons to the room where the high-ranking demons were. The room is quite unique and hierarchical. The higher the status, the higher the seat. At the bottom are the new generation of demons and their followers standing in a line. Nangong Long naturally would not stand there as he was not a demon, so he walked to the sofa on the side while Hij followed behind him. Nangong Long came here to accompany Rias and Sana, and he was not here to listen to their speeches. Everyone knew this, so the Demon Kings prepared an area for him to rest in advance, and also prepared some special fruits from the underworld and placed them on the table. Hij took the lead and sat on the sofa and patted his thigh. The meaning was self-evident. Nangong Long lay down and enjoyed Hij's lap pillow. The demon leader couldn't help but twitch his lips, and then pretended not to see it. Rias and the others looked at each other angrily and tried not to care about it. There was no way they could move freely like Kurika now. Seeing this, Sikvela was more and more certain that the news she overheard was true, but for some reason, the top brass blocked the news from the people below. Seeing this, Nazarick wondered how strong Nangong Long was to be treated like this. Diodora was immersed in her own delusional and suicidal plan. Hij ignored everyone, picked up the fruit and fed it to Nangong Long, looking like she was just showing off her love. 0.2 A high-ranking demon who looked older began to speak, and Sikvera and others thought that he would mention the murder of Jeftal. As a result, the reality was completely different from what they imagined. The demon leaders didn't even mention this person, as if this person didn't exist in this new generation gathering at all. Rias and the others were not surprised at all. How could the top management offend Nangong Long because of a worthless demon? They must be crazy. After the opening remarks, Nazarick couldn't help but ask, I just want to know if we will be sent to deal with the group of disasters. Sertsk stood up and said a bunch of things, something like, you are the future of the underworld and can't be easily sent to the battlefield. Seeing this, Nazarick didn't say anything more. Chapter 53. The Demon King and the Demon High Command talked about their vision for the future of ranked games. Finally, can you talk about your future goals? My goal is to become the Demon King, Nazarick said without hesitation. The top brass were talking about it. After all, if a devil appeared in King Baal's family, it would definitely shock everyone. I want to win the championship in the ranking game. This is my short-term goal, Rias said seriously. After the other demons finished talking about their dreams, Nina stepped forward and told them his own dream. My dream is to build a ranking game school in the underworld. Such schools already exist. No, the school I want to build will teach everyone, whether it's a high-level demon or a low-level demon, my school will teach everyone. The high-ranking demons began to discuss, not hiding their ridicule. They attached great importance to the class of demons and looked down upon the so-called lower-level demons. What a dreamy girl! The little girl in the seedy family is so naive. They actually want to establish a school that treats people in the same way as others. 24 There were a few high-ranking demons who said nothing and did not laugh at King Na, but they also thought that this was an unrealistic dream. The reason why they didn't express any opinions was because Nangong Long was present and based on past events, they inferred that he would not sit idly by and watch his sister being bullied. Sure enough, the next moment, Nangong Long's slightly cold voice was heard. What a joke! Believe it or not, I will build a school on top of your graves. The senior executives who had laughed at Kangna's dream suddenly dared not say a word. The expressions on their faces were as ugly as if they had eaten a fly. They were so engrossed in the conversation that they even forgot that this evil star was still there. As for those who did not speak, they all congratulated themselves for their foresight. They had no doubt about the truthfulness of Nangong Long's words, and who knows how tall the grass on the grave would be by this time next year. Akeno and the others were having a hard time enduring it. They wanted to laugh but couldn't, but their eyes had already turned into crescent shapes. Kang Na felt warm inside as well. She smiled brightly in her heart but tried hard to keep a blank expression on her face. Sarayorg felt like his brain was freezing. What was going on? When did the higher UPS become so tolerant? Diodora began to doubt whether his plan to commit suicide was really right. But then he shook his head. He had the trouble group behind him, and their boss was the infinite dragon god Orpheus, so what was there to be afraid of? Sigvara felt that the truth might be even more exaggerated than she thought, otherwise it would be impossible to explain the reaction of the higher UPS. The best proof was that the Demon King had no intention of blaming Nangong Long at all. I'm so curious and want to know the truth. Should I take the initiative to make friends with her? I'm a little envious of Sana, Sigvila thought. Siraflora looked down at the demon high-ranking officials without disguising her smile. Since she was the Demon King, those demons did not dare to say anything. It's good to be strong, you can slap people in the face at will. Oh, I'm so envious. I want to do the same, Serafla thought. The top management felt very uncomfortable, as they usually used this kind of activities to show off and educate the younger generation, but this time they were slapped in the face in front of the younger generation. The most important thing was that they had to hold back their anger. The atmosphere became awkward for a moment, and Surtsks had to come out to liven it up. How about a competition among the new generation? If you perform well in the competition, you can also realize your dreams. Demiurge stood up and said with a smile, why bother with so much trouble? As long as the princess has this intention, I can guarantee that within a week every city in the underworld will have a school that provides education for all. At this point, Demiurge raised his hand to adjust his glasses and his expression turned cold. There won't be any dissenting voices. The dead won't have any opinions. Seraflo kept winking at her sister, telling her to say something quickly, and stop being in a daze, otherwise the underworld would be in trouble. Perhaps Seraflo's anxious thoughts were successfully transmitted, and Sana, who had come to her senses, hurriedly said, thank you for your kindness, your majesty, but this is my dream, and I think it would be more valuable to realize it through my own efforts. You are too polite, princess. You can just call me Demiurge. I am just your subordinate and cannot bear the title of your majesty. Given Demiurge's level of loyalty, it would be impossible for him to let the princess call him your majesty. That would just cause chaos. Seeing that Demiurge didn't seem to be joking, Sana nodded. What I just said. Since it is the princess's own wish, I will not interfere. The other demon kings breathed a sigh of relief, and Serafla gave Sana a look that said you did a great job. The senior executives present decided not to care about this matter. If you can't afford to offend me, why not just hide away? Princess? The demon king calls himself his subordinate? What is all this? The uninformed new generation of demons are in a mess. Seeing their expressions, Surtsk sighed and could only explain it later. Keeping this a secret was not a long-term solution. In that case, let's continue with the previous topic. 20 days later, the 5 people present will compete by drawing lots, and one person will be given a bye and does not have to participate in the competition. Do you have any objections? Considering Nangong Long, Surtsks did not let Rias and Sana fight directly, but adopted this method to conduct the game. However, the difficulty becomes higher, because only on the day of the game can you know who your opponent is, and if you want to formulate a strategy, you have to take everyone into consideration. No 283 Surtsks looked at Nangong Long and said, I hope that the Dragon Emperor can attend the banquet before the competition as the Lord of Nazarick. Good, I'm sure you're a little confused about the current situation. I can explain it to you, but you must not spread it. This matter will be announced when the time is right, said Surtsks to Sarayorg and the others. Afterwards, Surtsks briefly explained the matter about Nangong Long, but did not mention things like the demon being beaten. After the party ended, everyone left one after another. Sigvara walked into Nangong Long and said with a smile, please communicate more in the future. Ignoring Rias and the others' piercing gazes, Sikvarasan left with her followers. Sarayorg also came over and asked a question. With your status and strength, why do you want to be friends with me? Because you are Sarayorg, a man who does not rely on talent, I recognize your perseverance. Ha 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 ha, you're the first person to say that. Even though I became stronger, most demons still looked down on me and thought I was a disgrace to the Baal family, just because I didn't inherit the magic of destruction. At this time, we just need to use our fists to shut them up, Nangong Long said with a smile. I will, Sarayorg raised his fist and smiled. Chapter 53. The Demon King and the Demon High Command talked about their vision for the future of ranked games. Finally, can you talk about your future goals? My goal is to become the Demon King, Sarayorg said without hesitation. The top brass were talking about it. After all, if a devil appeared in King Baal's family, it would definitely shock everyone. I want to win the championship in the ranking game. This is my short-term goal, Rias said seriously. After the other demons finished talking about their dreams, Nina stepped forward and told them his own dream. My dream is to build a ranking game school in the underworld. Such schools already exist. No, the school I want to build will teach everyone, whether it's a high-level demon or a low-level demon, my school will teach everyone. The high-ranking demons began to discuss, not hiding their ridicule. They attached great importance to the class of demons and looked down upon the so-called lower-level demons. What a dreamy girl! The little girl in the CD family is so naive. They actually want to establish a school that treats people in the same way as others. 24 There were a few high-ranking demons who said nothing and did not laugh at King Na, but they also thought that this was an unrealistic dream. The reason why they didn't express any opinions was because Nangong Long was present, and based on past events, they inferred that he would not sit idly by and watch his sister being bullied. Sure enough, the next moment, Nangong Long's slightly cold voice was heard. What a joke! Believe it or not, I will build a school on top of your graves. The senior executives who had laughed at Kang Na's dream suddenly dared not say a word. The expressions on their faces were as ugly as if they had eaten a fly. They were so engrossed in the conversation that they even forgot that this evil star was still there. As for those who did not speak, they all congratulated themselves for their foresight. They had no doubt about the truthfulness of Nangong Long's words, and who knows how tall the grass on the grave would be by this time next year. Akeno and the others were having a hard time enduring it. They wanted to laugh but couldn't, but their eyes had already turned into crescent shapes. King Na felt warm inside as well. She smiled brightly in her heart but tried hard to keep a blank expression on her face. Sarayorg felt like his brain was freezing. What was going on? When did the higher UPS become so tolerant? Diodora began to doubt whether his plan to commit suicide was really right. But then he shook his head. He had the trouble group behind him, and their boss was the infinite dragon god Orpheus, so what was there to be afraid of? Sigvara felt that the truth might be even more exaggerated than she thought, otherwise it would be impossible to explain the reaction of the higher UPS. The best proof was that the Demon King had no intention of blaming Nangong Long at all. I'm so curious and want to know the truth. Should I take the initiative to make friends with her? I'm a little envious of Sana, Sigvila thought. Siraflora looked down at the demon high-ranking officials without disguising her smile. Since she was the Demon King, those demons did not dare to say anything. It's good to be strong, you can slap people in the face at will. Oh, I'm so envious. I want to do the same, Serafla thought. The top management felt very uncomfortable, as they usually used this kind of activities to show off and educate the younger generation, but this time they were slapped in the face in front of the younger generation. The most important thing was that they had to hold back their anger. The atmosphere became awkward for a moment, and Surtsks had to come out to liven it up. How about a competition among the new generation? If you perform well in the competition, you can also realize your dreams. Demiurge stood up and said with a smile, why bother with so much trouble? As long as the princess has this intention, I can guarantee that within a week every city in the underworld will have a school that provides education for all. At this point, Demiurge raised his hand to adjust his glasses and his expression turned cold. There won't be any dissenting voices. The dead won't have any opinions. Seraflo kept winking at her sister, telling her to say something quickly, and stop being in a daze, otherwise the underworld would be in trouble. Perhaps Seraflo's anxious thoughts were successfully transmitted, and Sana, who had come to her senses, hurriedly said, "Thank you for your kindness, your majesty, but this is my dream, and I think it would be more valuable to realize it through my own efforts." "You are too polite, princess. You can just call me Demiurge. I am just your subordinate and cannot bear the title of your majesty." Given Demiurge's level of loyalty, it would be impossible for him to let the princess call him your majesty. That would just cause chaos. Seeing that Demiurge didn't seem to be joking, Sana nodded. "What I just said. Since it is the princess's own wish, I will not interfere." The other demon kings breathed a sigh of relief, and Serafla gave Sana a look that said, "You did a great job." The senior executives present decided not to care about this matter. If you can't afford to offend me, why not just hide away? Princess? The Demon King calls himself his subordinate? What is all this? The uninformed new generation of demons are in a mess. Seeing their expressions, Surtsk sighed and could only explain it later. Keeping this a secret was not a long-term solution. In that case, let's continue with the previous topic. 20 days later, the 5 people present will compete by drawing lots, and one person will be given a bye and does not have to participate in the competition. Do you have any objections? Considering Nangong Long, Surtsk did not let Rias and Sana fight directly, but adopted this method to conduct the game. However, the difficulty becomes higher, because only on the day of the game can you know who your opponent is, and if you want to formulate a strategy, you have to take everyone into consideration. No 283 Surtsk looked at Nangong Long and said, I hope that the Dragon Emperor can attend the banquet before the competition as the Lord of Nazarick. Good, I'm sure you're a little confused about the current situation. I can explain it to you, but you must not spread it. This matter will be announced when the time is right, said Surtsk to Sarayorg and the others. Afterwards, Surtsk briefly explained the matter about Nangong Long, but did not mention things like the demon being beaten. After the party ended, everyone left one after another. Sigvara walked into Nangong Long and said with a smile, please communicate more in the future. Ignoring Rias and the others' piercing gazes, Sigvara-san left with her followers. Sarayorg also came over and asked a question. With your status and strength, why do you want to be friends with me? Because you are Sarayorg, a man who does not rely on talent, I recognize your perseverance. Ha 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 ha, you're the first person to say that. Even though I became stronger, most demons still looked down on me and thought I was a disgrace to the Baal family, just because I didn't inherit the magic of destruction. At this time, we just need to use our fists to shut them up, Nangong Long said with a smile. I will, Sarayorg raised his fist and smiled. Chapter 54. After the last party, Kangna went straight back to Ziti's house. Before parting, she gave Nangong Long a passionate kiss and told him to remember to come to Ziti's house to see her. Back at the Gremory residence, Rias suggested that everyone go to the hot springs to relieve fatigue. Kaiba, Gasper, and Azazel, who had returned from the Demon King's territory, were in the men's bath, while Nangong Long was bathing with the girls in the women's bath. Rias talked about her goals at the party. So what are your goals? Nangong Long asked with a smile. Hij beside him was the first to answer this question. My target's last name is Nangong, and Yi Hij sounds good too. Well, then I'm going to change my last name to Nangong too, Asia said with tears in her eyes. Ah, Kurika, you are really amazing. Akeno's momentum began to rise slightly. Same here. Okay, stop making trouble, Nangong Long said with a smile. The conversation continued, except that the girls would argue from time to time. The next day, Rias and the others started training. Rias has great talent and strength, so she mainly learns tactics and adaptability. The kitten continued to be trained by his sister in the use of magic and sorcery. Kaiba went to find his swordsmanship teacher and planned to start training from scratch. Irina and Zenobia practiced together to better control the holy sword. Akeno is also very powerful, after all, she is wearing the artifact given by Nangong Long, but if she wants to become stronger, she must accept the power of light through her bloodline. Asia's training is aimed at improving physical fitness and long-distance treatment. Everyone started to practice, and Nangong Long took Junai, who was feeling troubled, out to relax. Is there any place you want to go? I want to go on a date, Junai said coquettishly while hugging Nangong Long's arm. Let's go to the city where we met before. It's pretty much the same as the human world. I'll do as you say. Moving up, Nangong Long naturally wouldn't waste time taking the tram. I want to eat that. Junai dragged Nangong Long for a walk on the street. How about we go to the amusement park? Akeno said with a blushing face. After coming out of the amusement park, Junai dragged Nangong Long into the clothing store. After selecting a variety of clothes, Junai walked into the dressing room and dragged Nangong Long in as well. Is this pretty? Akeno asked, wearing a lavender dress. You are so beautiful that you look beautiful in anything. He he he. Let me put it another way. Which one do you like me to wear? Don't tell me yet. Let me guess. So, every time Junai changed her clothes, she would carefully observe his reaction, and finally pack up and buy all the clothes that she thought Nangong Long would like. Afterwards, Akame and Nangong Long went to see a movie, which had a lot of underworld elements. After coming out of the cinema, the two looked at each other face to face. "Darling, let's get a room. I heard that this is how dates end." Nangong Long rubbed Akame's hair and said with a smile, "Okay hotel darling, actually after the last incident at the shrine, I plan to accept my own bloodline. This time it can be considered a sneak peek," Akame said cutely while shaking her head. Nangong Long reached out and tapped her forehead, teasingly, "Should we go back then?" "No." Junai widened her eyes and looked pitiful. Since the date, Akame has also started new training to allow herself to control the power of light. While Rias and the others were training intensively, another major event occurred in their world. The demons in the underworld began to disappear and die for no reason. Suddenly, everyone in the underworld began to feel insecure. After all, even the highest level demons had died, and no one wanted to be the next. When Rias's parents heard the news, their first reaction was to wonder what Nangong Long had done, because all these dead demons had one thing in common: they had all talked about Rias turning down the engagement. But the subsequent news made them doubt their judgment, because the magical characteristics of the descendants of the old Demon King were detected in the corpse at the scene. The Demon King suspected that this was done by the disaster group. Previous intelligence showed that almost all of the old Demon King's faction had joined the disaster group. This large-scale action must have some ulterior motive. Of course, this was done by Demiurge. As for the old Demon King's magic power, it was also easy to disguise. It could be done by just capturing the temples of 2 demon lords and controlling them 10 times. Most of the bodies had been transported back to Nazarick for effective use, leaving only a small portion of the bodies to be passed on to the trouble group. Rias and the others also came to ask Nangong Long about this matter, and Nangong Long gave them a look that said you understand. 10 days before the competition, Nangong Long set out for Sidi's territory. "See you at the stadium. Go back, be quick and be restrained," Rias said. "Oh, I'm going to be the first mother, so I have to be restrained," said Akame with a smile. "The first place is definitely my cat." Nangong Long smiled helplessly. "You have all been practicing hard recently. Do you think King Na will be the same as you?" Rias nodded. "Indeed, King Na must want to win the game, and she might be training even harder than us now." "Darling, I want to go with you, Li Wanghao, to satisfy your lustful desires, but my sister's training still needs me." "Meow, my heart hurts so much," Hij said with a sad face. "Kurika, have you been sneaking into Darling's room enough times recently?" There was a faint black aura emanating from behind Akame. "We couldn't accompany him because of training, so we turned a blind eye," Rias said expressionlessly. "Meow, meow, I've been discovered." Nangong Long hugged them one by one. "Don't think that a hug will solve the problem. You have to make it up to him later," Akame muttered. "Please make good use of the props I gave you," Nangong Long said with a smile. "But does this count as cheating?" Rias asked hesitantly. "How could that be? Other teams have also received help from other forces." "I see. Long-san, please think of me," Asia said. Chapter 55. Sidi's house. King Na is discussing with Nangong Long. She plans to use the Fallen Angel's reversal technology. "Although it is somewhat dangerous, I still want to try it. What do you think?" "Okay, I'll take care of this. I'll have Euless transplant the power of reversal for you. Nazarick has perfected this technology, and the risks have been avoided." "Really? That's great." King Na hugged Nangong Long excitedly, and when she realized what was happening, her face turned red and she whispered, "Thank you." Then he asked, "What is the limit of reversal?" "Well, it depends on the person. The stronger the person is, the stronger the power that can be reversed will be." "Is that so? This is much better than I expected. At least my followers don't have to take risks." In this way, apart from transplanting the reversed power, King Na and the others continued to practice as usual. 3 days before the competition started, something happened that surprised Nangong Long. Zhenluo Chunji secretly asked him to go to her room. 633 Tsubaki, what's up? Zhenluo Chunji seemed a little embarrassed. "Wait for me." After saying this, Chunji ran into the bathroom, and it took her a long time to muster up the courage to walk out. "Do you like it?" Chunji asked shyly after dressing up. After making love, Chunji leaned on Nangong Long's chest and smiled. "Let's do it again after the game." Of the day before the game, the party. "Darling, how about my dress?" "Irina, who was wearing a blue dress, asked expectantly. Very beautiful. What about mine? Mine, mine. After each girl commented on it, the girls nodded in satisfaction. Konako and Asia were wearing small-sized dresses, which were extremely cute. But Gasper, that BD, was wearing a women's dress, which made him look like a cross-dresser. Let's go to the venue, Rias said. Wait a moment, Why? Here we come. Greetings, Your Excellency. Albedo, dressed in a pure white dress, walked out of the portal. Sister Albedo, Akeno said in surprise. The other sisters also looked surprised. They didn't know why Albedo came here. Albedo smiled slightly. I am here to attend the banquet as Your Excellency's secretary. Nazarick will officially step into the spotlight. Is that so? Everyone walked into the venue. This time, Nangong Long did not sit down and watch the show, but sat with the Demon King. I'm Albedo, the woman's secretary. Albedo stood up and introduced herself with a bow. They were indeed impressed by Albedo's beauty, but as a Demon King, he was not likely to lose his composure because of it. Surtsks. The 4 Demon Kings introduced themselves one by one. Fallen Angel Governor Azazel. Michael will be here soon, Surtsks said. No rush, Albedo smiled. Soon, Michael arrived, and not only him, but also Mir and Euless came to the venue. Sorry, I'm a little late, Michael said apologetically after sitting down. It doesn't matter. Then Surtsks looked at Mir and Euless and said, please take a seat, both of you. Mir and Euless looked at each other, walked to where Nangong Long was sitting, and knelt on one knee. Meal, the guardian of the 10th floor of Nazarick, has completed his mission. Return immediately as ordered. Get up. Yes. The angel sisters walked behind Nangong Long and stood on both sides. The atmosphere fell into an eerie silence, and the demons attending the banquet below seemed to be immobilized. The leaders of the 3 major forces were also shocked. Rias and the others were mentally prepared and performed well. It seems that my guess is correct. Mill is also his man, King Na said after taking a deep breath. When did you know that? Rias asked. Didn't us appear during the Cockabill incident? Afterwards, I thought that since the 12-winged fallen angel that appeared a year ago was a dragon, could the angel that appeared a year ago also be a dragon? Of course, I was just suspicious at that time, until I saw the angels and fallen angels living peacefully together in Nazarick. I confirmed my guess. Pretty much what I thought, but then again, it's incredible that Darling can rule over so many strong people from different races, Akeno chuckled. Yes, I still feel like a day trip to Nazarick is like a dream, said Shinra Tsubaki with emotion. Who isn't? The 4 demon kings came back to their senses and laughed happily. It seems that not only demons have infiltrated Nangong Long's people, but also angels and fallen angels. Someone is suffering with me, and this feeling is much better now. Michael and Azazel smiled bitterly. Chapter 56. Unexpected things happened, and Surtsks had no choice but to change the venue of the discussion to the Demon Lord's meeting room. Michael smiled bitterly and said, Mill, can you tell me why you didn't fall from heaven? It stands to reason that Mir must have some purpose in sneaking into the angel camp, and doing so is also an act of treason, so there is no reason not to fall from heaven. Not only Michael was puzzled, but the 4 demon kings and Azazel were also puzzled. Mir first looked at Nangong Long and got his approval before he began to explain, his tone full of pride. Michael, although I am an angel like you, I am fundamentally different from you. You were created by God, while I was created by adults. Our systems are different. I am set up as an angel, so there is no such thing as following the sky. The 4 devil kings were stunned. Michael looked incredulous, and Azazel also couldn't accept it. After a long time, Azazel glanced at Euless. Understanding the questioning meaning in Azazel's eyes, Euless said, of course I was created by adults. I was a fallen angel from the beginning, there is no so-called fallen heaven. By the way, Mir is my sister. Michael took a deep breath and said slowly, is it true that Mr. Nangong Long can create angels? You actually questioned the Supreme Lord, Albedo said with an unhappy look on her face. Mir and Euless did the same. They did not allow anyone to question the Lord. I'm sorry to offend you, but this is really unbelievable, Michael said apologetically. No hindrance. Nangong Long stopped Albedo, who was about to say something else, and continued, I can actually create angels. Stop, listen to me. Seeing Michael's expression, Nangong Long knew what he wanted to ask, which was nothing more than the method of creating angels. After all, the number of angels stopped growing after the death of God. The worst thing was that angels could not have children. This is not correct. Strictly speaking, one can have children, but when doing the reproductive activity, one must have no desire and no distractions. This is even more difficult. How can one do such a thing without any desire? Once an angel has desire, he will fall from heaven, and the number of angels will decrease. Now the angels are in this embarrassing situation. Michael swallowed what he was about to say and listened carefully. I was able to create an angel because of many factors. I can't do it now. I see, it's not that simple after all, Michael sighed. The three major forces have reconciled. You have obtained the technology of the devil's chess piece. Just reincarnate as a human being. That's true. Instead of continuing to cling to the impossible, it's better to grasp what you have, Michael said with a smile. I just have one question, what is Ulysses' purpose in infiltrating the angels and fallen angels? Azazel asked. How to make a divine weapon, is that all? Azazel asked. That's all, I'm not interested in anything else. If it wasn't necessary, Azazel really didn't want to be an enemy of Nangong Long. Although the demons tried their best to block the news about Nangong Long, there was no such thing as impenetrable intelligence in the world. As the governor of the fallen angels, he naturally had his special channels to obtain intelligence. Although the intelligence was not much, he could still analyze a lot of useful information. The same is true of Michael. If they just wanted to take away the method of making the artifact, then that would be fine. He had already given the technology to the demons and angels anyway, so it wouldn't matter if there was one more force. There is a difference between giving something away and taking it yourself. If you get it yourself, it will naturally be more comprehensive. This is why Nangong Long sent people to infiltrate instead of waiting until now to take it directly. I can understand how you two feel, said Surtsks. You understand? Azazel looked at Surtsks with a look that said, you're making fun of me. Yes, since our situations are similar, I'll just say it straight. Demiurge is also Nangong Long's subordinate. Michael and Azazel were speechless, but their mood improved. Demiurge stood up and said with a smile, let's get to know Demiurge, one of the guardians of Nazarick again. Excuse me for asking, with such power, what exactly do you want to do? Azazel asked solemnly. Seeking flowers 0. I won't destroy the world for nothing, nor will I talk about establishing a new order, which is very troublesome to manage. The principle of Nazarick is very simple. I will not offend others unless they offend me. Azazel smiled bitterly, anyone who has time and luck can give it a try. Anyway, let us live in peace, said Michael. Mir, you are always welcome in heaven. Come back once in a while. Gabriel will be sad if you are not around. Asterisk. Mir looked at Nangong Long with a questioning look. Go if you want to. You must have made a lot of friends in heaven, Nangong Long said with a smile. Thank you, sir, the same goes for you, Ulysses. I don't think Azazel would object. Of course not, Azazel said with a smile. He was planning to say that. Now that we've finished talking, let's continue the banquet, Serafla suggested. Nangong Long shook his head and brought up another matter, that the group of disasters invaded the underworld. Surtsks and the others' expressions suddenly changed. This was not good news. Nangong Long told them that the old Demon King faction was planning to kill the blood relatives of the current Demon King, and the time to act was when Diodora faced the blood relatives of the current Demon King, that is, Rias or Sana. At that time, they could also deal with the leaders of the major forces watching the game. Ajika frowned and asked, is there a problem with Diodora? After all, Diodora is one of his people, so he would definitely ask her. Of course, if there is really something wrong with Diodora, he would definitely not show mercy. Anyone who wants to destroy the peace that he and Surtsks have worked hard for is an enemy. He has already come into contact with the heir of the old Demon King Beelzebub's bloodline and obtained the power of the Orpheus snake. If you are not afraid of alerting the enemy, you can go and try it yourself. Forget it, please continue, Ajika said, shaking his head. The old Demon King's faction is almost ready, all it needs is an opportunity. You mean to manipulate the new generation of demons in the lottery battle? Azazel immediately understood what Nangong Long meant. Chapter 57. That's what I mean. Aren't you afraid that Rias and Sana will be in danger? Azazel asked. Of course I said this because I was absolutely sure. Is that so? Which one of them do you plan to let fight Diodora? Rias Surtsk frowned, took a deep breath and said slowly, okay, but what's the reason? You can find out by yourself. Diodora has a perverted hobby, Nangong Long said with a smile. The reason why this method was chosen to kill the old Demon King faction was mainly because they were usually too scattered and it would be too troublesome to deal with them separately. Moreover, with him around, Rias and the others would not be harmed. Don't worry, I won't joke about Rias's safety. I know this very well. Tell me about your plan. 2, 4, 3 Nangong Long knew how much he loved Rias Surtsks. I'll leave the behind-the-scenes operations to you guys, and I'll be responsible for intensifying the conflict and getting them to take action. Intensify? What are you going to do? Michael asked. It's not easy for the old Demon King to find a chess piece that is a blood relative of the current Demon King. If they think that this chess piece will not be useful for long, they will naturally try to squeeze out the last value from him. Understood with the wisdom of everyone present, they naturally understood the meaning of Nangong Long's words. I will cooperate with you in this scene, said Ajika. I will come up with a detailed battle plan as soon as possible, said Fall Baiwen after a long silence. Odin will arrive tomorrow, but it is too late to invite other forces. But this is an opportunity for us. If we can eliminate the unstable factor of the old Demon King faction in one fell swoop, the 3 major forces will usher in better development. So we can't postpone this plan, otherwise something unexpected might happen. It seems that we can only rely on ourselves. I hope we have enough combat power. After all, the opponent's boss is Orpheus. Surtsk said with a frown. Please don't worry about that. Nazarick will participate in this battle, Albedo said with a smile. Everyone's eyes lit up. That's great, Azazel smiled. Venu seeing the devil reappear, the demons stopped talking. Everyone continue, don't worry too much about us, said Surtsk with a smile. Nangong Long returned to Rias and the others. Albedo had just returned to Nazarick to arrange tomorrow's battle plan. Is everything okay? Rias said worriedly, and the other girls also looked at her with concern. Nangong Long stroked her hair and said with a smile, what could possibly happen? Even if there is something, it must be someone else's problem. Even so, I'm still worried, Rias said with a blushing face. Nangong Long pulled Rias's smooth face. Let's go sit over there. Nangong Long sat in the middle of the sofa, Rias and Sana sat on both sides of him, and the rest of the people found a place to sit down. Nangong Long hooked his finger at Asia, motioning her to come over to him. Well, what do you want me to do? Asia said shyly. Nangong Long pulled Asia into his arms, lowered his head and whispered in her ear, just sit on my lap. Oh, okay. Asia responded with a flushed face, and turned her body mechanically to sit on Nangong Long's legs, leaning against him. I want to do that too, meow, Hey Du said. Meow, I want to too, said the kitten. Ah, Asia is starting to exert her strength too. Akeno chuckled with her hands covering her mouth. Well, I don't have that either, Asia said embarrassedly, poking her finger. I want it too, Hwaja Adao gave him an envious look. Rias gave Asia an encouraging look. Everyone has a share, but you have to go home first. Think about what you want, Nangong Long said with a smile. The girls were excited, and then fell into deep thought. Kang Na pulled the corner of Nangong Long's clothes and asked, is something going to happen? Nangong Long lowered his head and whispered in her ear, let's talk about this when we get back. Asia picked up the food on the table, picked up a small piece with a fork and put it to Nangong Long's mouth. On the other side, Diodora watched this scene with angry eyes, then suppressed his anger and turned to Asia. Asia, do you still remember me? Diodora said politely. I don't remember, just get out of here as far as you can, Nangong Long said bluntly. Asia originally wanted to answer the other party politely, but she stopped talking when she heard Nangong Long speak. It's a bit too much for the Dragon Emperor to say that, Diodora said with a wry smile. Nangong Long stood up and let Asia sit in his seat, then walked closer to Diodora. Too much? I have done something even more excessive. Nangong Long suddenly reached out and grabbed Diodora's head and pressed his face hard to the floor, causing the floor to quickly crack. Rias looked at Asia and said teasingly, this guy is a bit too jealous. I'm jealous. Asia's eyes were about to turn red and she was almost fainting from happiness, but she still tried to cheer herself up and stood up to walk to Nangong Long. Rias held Asia. What are you up to? I want to tell Longsan that I'm not going anywhere and will always stay by his side, so there's no need to hit him anymore. Rias shook her head and said, Long, there must be more reasons for this than jealousy. We just need to wait until everything is over and ask him. Now we just have to watch. Oh, is that so? How do you feel, BD? Dirty dragon, how dare you do this to me? Nangong Long's words completely ignited Diodora's anger and made him lose his mind. Under normal circumstances, Diodora would definitely avoid fighting with Nangong Long. Although he looked down on this and that, he would not be stupid enough to take the initiative to fight with an opponent that even the Demon King was afraid of. But he didn't expect that Nangong Long would take action without any warning, and didn't even take into account the presence of His Majesty Ajika Beelzebub. Diodora began to gather her magic power and prepare for a counterattack. Seeing this scene, Ajika sighed and said, It seems to be true. Diodora accepted the power of Orpheus. Otherwise, there is no way to explain his magic power that has skyrocketed to this level. Don't worry Sirtsks, I'm not that fragile yet. Go to hell. Diodora's counterattack was ineffective and she was still beaten. Chapter 58. Ajika felt that the time was right, so he stepped in to stop Nangong Long who was beating Diodora. Give me some face and stop it. Nangong Long stepped on Diodora's face and said disdainfully, You are just a piece of trash. Stay away from Asia from now on. Then he looked at Ajika and said, Keep an eye on your offspring, don't stretch your claws too far, or they'll get you killed. Then he kicked Diodora away and returned to his seat. Ajika smiled bitterly and said nothing, just acting out the whole thing. The demons who had seen the Demon King being defeated by Nangong Long thought it was normal for Ajika to have such an expression, while those who had not seen it found it unbelievable, as the Demon King didn't say anything and that was it. Theodora was carried away for treatment and Ajika returned to his seat. It looked like Diodora was beaten badly, but in fact, as long as the treatment was kept up, he would recover quickly. Nangong Long would not kill him easily, that would be too easy for him. After tomorrow, he would let him know that death was a luxury. Laya and the others would naturally ask Nangong Long why he suddenly turned hostile, but Nangong Long said he would talk about it after he got back, so the girls temporarily suppressed their curiosity. When the banquet was halfway through, the draw for the new generation of demon ranking game began. Drawing opponents is similar to matching in a game, except that it is done using magic instead of a computer. The final result was Diodora vs Rias, Saray Org vs Seekvera, and Sana Gadabai. Kangna was a little unhappy about the result. She took this competition very seriously and hoped to impress those big shots with her and her family's performance. Don't be unhappy, there will be next time, right? Nangong Long comforted Kangna while rubbing her hair. I know, don't do it anymore, it's a mess, Kangna said with a smile. After the party, follow me to Sidi's house. No, you have to go to my house, Rias said without giving in. Kangna smiled playfully. You have a competition tomorrow, what can I do at your house? Shinra Tsubaki echoed, the president is right. If there is no competition, we can accompany Long to do what he loves. That's right, Hwaja Adao and the others nodded in agreement. You know, they tried their best to resist the urge to attack at night in order to practice. Although they were a little disappointed about the buys, from another perspective, this was a good opportunity to get closer. Rias couldn't refute their words, so she simply changed her tactics and took Nangong Long's arm and said coquettishly, Would you like to come to my house? Darling, I don't need to compete, meow. Hitch shook his cat ears and raised his hands to make the gesture of a lucky cat, which was super cute. Pick one, said Sana. This is a life-threatening question, so Nangong Long thought about it and said, Let's go to Demiurge's territory together. I have something to tell you. The girls nodded in agreement, knowing that continuing the argument would not lead to any better results. Demiurge territory. If the Gremory family is a castle, then this is a palace. This is the palace I built for you, sir. Of course, it's not as good as the one in Nazarick, but it's barely worthy of a human being, said Demi-Goddess with a smile. It's already pretty good. Thank you for your appreciation. If there is nothing else, I will take my leave first. Well, let's make plans for tomorrow. Clear Demiurge did not live here, he lived in another castle. Take us to the reception room, Nangong Long said to the maid who was serving him. Yes, please follow me, sir. Tomorrow's game is just a cover, it won't actually take place, said Nangong Long. The girls looked surprised. What's going on? Rias asked. Diodora has already come into contact with the group of disasters. Nangong Long briefly repeated to Rias and the others what he had said in the conference room. That's probably it. I'm sorry, Rias used you as bait. It's okay. I also want to share some of my brother's worries. If I were here, I would definitely take the initiative to take on this task. Besides, I believe you will protect me, Rias said with a smile. Of course King Na looked at Nangong Long and asked her questions. Why not me? My sister is also a demon king. The old demon king faction must want to kill me too. Sana, you're not going to compete with me for something like this, are you? Rias said with a blank look at her. No, I just want to know why. Then King Na put forward her own guess. It should be related to Diodora. Nangong Long sighed and said, Asia, you don't have to listen. How about going to another room for a while? Asia was stunned at first, then shook her head with tears in her eyes. I don't want to be excluded, please let me stay here. I'm not excluding you, but you'll be sad to hear this. Then I want to stay too. It's okay as I have a dragon by my side. Rias held Asia's hand and looked at Nangong Long and said, it's okay, go ahead. Alright, just listen to it. It would be better if it could increase your vigilance. However, it would be a little difficult considering Asia's personality, Nangong Long thought. Diodora had a very perverted hobby, he liked to play with nuns and watch them fall. One day he fell in love with a nun who was very much to his liking, but she was the saint of the church headquarters, so it was not easy for him to succeed. After hearing this, the people present understood that the nun should be Asia. He heard that the saint was very kind, so he thought of a way to let himself fall in front of the saint and let the saint heal him. Then, by chance, the people of the church would see him. The saint will definitely be expelled if she can cure demons. In fact, everything went according to his script, but there was one link he didn't expect, that is, the saint met me on the way to join the fallen angels. You all know what happened next. Diodora must have wanted to snatch Asia from me very much. Ah, Sasos. Asia couldn't stop crying, and Rias patted her back to comfort her. You should beat this kind of trash to death, darling, meow, Hij said angrily. He always smiles when he meets everyone, but I didn't expect he is this kind of person, said King Na expressionlessly. That's all his disguise. In fact, he is very arrogant and looks down on others. He especially discriminates against lower-level demons and reincarnated demons. I must chop that BD to death and avenge Asia's anger, Zenobia said fiercely, almost drawing her sword. Count me in, Irina said angrily. Chapter 59. Nangong Long stroked Asia's hair and consoled her, there is nothing wrong with your kindness. I will make him pay the price. Asia wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes and looked at Nangong Long with red eyes and a sweet smile. I'm fine. If this hadn't happened, I wouldn't have met Long San, Ria's sister, and everyone else. I'm very happy now. We will always be with you, the girls said together. Seeing that Asia was really fine, Rias asked, do you need me to do anything tomorrow? Just be normal. I'm somewhere in the underworld. Tomorrow we will wash away the previous shame with blood, Sherpa Beelzebub said with a fierce look in his eyes. Isn't that a bit too hasty? We can't help it. That idiot Diodora probably won't live long. The other new generation demons won't betray the current demon king either. This means we only have this one chance. Although it's a bit hasty, it won't affect the overall situation. We're fighting against the demon king's sister. There's no better opportunity than this. Indeed, this is a rare opportunity. Our power has been strengthened to the level of the former demon king. There is nothing to worry about. The next day, before the cutting began, sang Na, you will stay here for a while, I will let Cositas stay to protect you. King Na frowned, then looked determined. I want to be with you. Seeing Nangong Long's hesitation, King Na continued, just let me be willful for once, okay? Can you take me with you too? Shinra Tsubaki requested. Hell! Take me too. The other girls also whispered. Nangong Long nodded and said, just take it with you, there won't be any danger anyway. Seeing Nangong Long making a grabbing gesture, King Na hurriedly stopped and kept silent. She didn't want to be rubbed in front of her relatives. Where would the dignity of the president be? The first match is Diodora versus Rias. I, Graphia, will be the referee for this match. Please stand on the designated magic circle and the match will begin immediately. Rias led her followers to the magic circle and stood still. Sertsks and Nangong Long looked at each other and nodded. Diodora clenched his fists and lowered his head to avoid his hateful eyes. Wait, Asia will become mine, your woman will die in this game, and you, the dirty dragon, will die today, Diodorus said angrily in his heart. The magic circle lit up, and in a blink of an eye everyone came to another world. This was an extra-dimensional space built in the dimensional gap. The building for this competition is the temple, and the rest is a large wilderness. Of course, the place must be big enough for the final battle. Yes. As soon as he arrived at the competition venue, Diodora burst into laughter, but soon he could no longer laugh because he saw Nangong Long and other big guys coming out of the temple. Nangong Long walked over to Rias and said to Diodora, who had an expression of disbelief, "Why don't you laugh? Keep going. Why are you all here, Demon King?" After realizing what was happening, Diodora pretended not to understand and asked Surtsks. This space allows entry but not exit, but according to the plan, the Demon King and his men should not be here. What went wrong? Was I betrayed? Damn Sherpa, you dare to lie to me. No, what about King Na and the others? With their strength, they should not be able to break in. What the hell is going on? Diodora's thoughts flashed through his mind. Just leave this to me, you go deal with the others. Deliagus should have already fought with them, Nangong Long said to Surtsks. Good, Surtsks and the others teleport to their respective battlefields. Since Nangong Long had warned Odin beforehand, the old man didn't dare to glance at any girl and could only go to other places to find opponents. It's not his fault that he was timid. You have to know that Nangong Long released half of his aura against him, which almost scared him to death. His strength was completely different from that of another dimension. Exposed, why? How could it happen? Diodora stood there in a daze. You made a wrong calculation, BD. You thought your plan was perfect? You are no longer useful. You can go die now. Impossible, I haven't told anyone about this, it's impossible for it to be exposed, Diodora shouted, unwilling to face the cruel reality. Darling, let me kill him, Irina said as she stepped forward. The girls all expressed their desire to kill this guy, and Nangong Long nodded in agreement, so a group fight broke out. Even if Diodora swallowed Orpheus's snake, he would only be strengthened to the highest level of demon. Nangong Long gave the girls a lot of props, so there was no way he would lose. If there was a chance, he would definitely take action to deal with Diodora immediately. Now let the girls vent their anger. Greetings, Sir, Entima, who had just arrived, saluted to Nangong Long. Even if all 8 of Theodora's soldiers were promoted to queens, it did not change the current situation of being suppressed. Impossible, how can you be so strong? I have been strengthened. Diodora shouted crazily. Who cares about you, scumbag? Hid shouted. Allah, take my thunderbolt. Although Junai was smiling, the smile was a little scary. Ah! Theodora, who was struck by lightning, immediately wailed. You know, Akeno's lightning contains the power of light. Soon Theodora was defeated and all his followers fell to the ground. Hey, why are you here, Entima? Rias asked in surprise. My lord ordered me to come here. Nangong Long walked up to the wounded Diodora, looked down at him and said with a smile, Don't worry, I won't let you die so easily. After the barrier disappears, take him back to Nazarick and send him to the Terror Prince's room for baptism. When he breaks down mentally, kill him. Clear the so-called baptism is to let the cockroaches eat you from the inside out, then use magic to heal you, and repeat this process infinitely until you collapse. Rias asked curiously, what is baptism? Nangong Long looked at her and smiled playfully. You really want to know? Rias had a bad feeling in her heart, but nodded out of curiosity. Nangong Long lowered his head and whispered an explanation in her ear. Lia's scalp suddenly tingled and she trembled all over. Then she glared at Nangong Long and said unhappily, You did it on purpose. Nangong Long spread his hands and said jokingly, But you want to know? Humph, I don't care, it's your fault. What is, darling? It's so mysterious. I feel dizzy. Haha, why don't you just ask Rias and you'll know? Rias, tell us about it, Sana said, and the others also looked at her curiously. Rias showed a malicious smile, saying that good sisters are those who share the burden together. Chapter 60. Rias recounted to everyone what Nangong Long had just told her, and everyone felt a tingling sensation on their scalp. Meow, meow, I support darling. Meow meow meow, I support you too. The girls all agreed. After all, Diodora was a perverted scum. Asia felt a little sorry, but she didn't say anything. If Diodora was allowed to live, more nuns would definitely suffer misfortune. The other side of the battlefield, Demiurge is fighting Cruzerai. Demiurge, how about cooperating with me? You are not a demon king and you don't have any family, so there is no need for you to mix with Surtsks. Act with us, the real demon king faction, and you can do whatever you want without any taboos, Cruzerai persuaded. The reason why he did this was mainly because of Demiurge's strength. At the same time, they had no grudges. After all, Demiurge did not participate in the previous war between the Demon King faction and the anti-Demon King faction. Demiurge smiled and said, "You've got one thing wrong. I'm not in the same group as Surtsks. We're just allies. The one I'm truly loyal to is the Supreme Lord, the one you call the Dragon Emperor." Cruzerai seemed to have heard something unbelievable and became extremely angry. Why should a demon be loyal to a foreigner? What qualifications does he have to accept the loyalty of a noble demon? Demiurge's expression changed and his aura rose steadily. "I was planning to play slowly, but you dared to speak rudely to an adult. You have no choice but to die to apologize." Cruzerai's face turned extremely ugly and cold sweat broke out on his forehead uncontrollably. "What a joke! Why is your power still increasing? This fluctuation has already surpassed the level of the former Demon King's power. You are really weak. It is only natural that you lost to Surtsks. You who swallowed the snake of Orpheus are just like this. The game ends here." Devil's aspects, Demon's sharp flame claw. Demiurge's right arm transformed into a gigantic demon claw covered in black flames, and it grabbed Cruzerai at an extremely fast speed. Cruzerai frantically fired magic bullets at the giant claw, but it was meaningless. The black flames burned the approaching magic bullets as soon as they came, and the demon's giant claw grabbed Cruzerai relentlessly. "Kg kg kg." Cruzerai wailed incessantly, his entire body of bones being crushed to pieces the moment they came into contact, but what made him wail was a deeper pain. The black flames were burning his soul, and soon Cruzerai lost his voice. The intense burning of his soul left him without even a final word. Demiurge casually threw Cruzerai's body to his subordinates. "A body of this strength level is still worth recycling. This world is different from the previous world. There are countless strong people. Using higher level demons as materials, higher level undead can be created to increase Nazarick's combat power. You are very strong. I haven't met a demon as strong as you in a long time. You probably didn't use your full strength just now." Demiurge instantly became alert. The opponent was able to get close to him without him noticing. He should not be underestimated. When he turned around and saw who it was, he immediately raised his alert level to the highest level. Although the adults said that Orpheus was very simple and would not attack as long as she was not attacked, it was always better to be cautious. Demiurge pushed up his glasses and said with a smile, "It is an honor to receive praise from the infinite dragon god Ophies. I'm just stating the facts." After saying this, Orpheus turned her gaze towards the temple, as if something there was attracting her. Battles were also taking place in other places. The demon servants summoned by Demiurge were collecting the enemy's corpses in one place for easy transfer after the battle. On Nangong Long's side, a crack appeared in the sky and Wally and his companions walked out of it. "Wally, nice to meet you again, Nangong Long," Wally said with a smile. "What are you doing here? Are you working with the old Demon King faction?" Rias asked warily. Wally smiled helplessly. "I have no interest in the old Demon King faction. I came here just because my target might show up here." Nangong Long patted Rias on the shoulder. "It's okay. Vala's character means he won't be able to work with the old Demon King faction." "Oh, it seems that the Dragon Emperor knows you very well, Wally," the monkey said with a smile. "You are here to wait for the great red true scarlet dragon god emperor, right?" Wally showed a look of surprise, but then he felt relieved after thinking about it. It was not surprising that Nangong Long knew about the great red with his strength. "Yes, my goal is to defeat the true red dragon god emperor and become the strongest." Nangong Long smiled and said, "You still have a long way to go." "I'm very clear about that," Wally said nonchalantly. "Your artifact is of the dragon type, right? Judging from the fluctuations of dragon power, the raw material should be an ice dragon, and its strength is probably similar to that of the highest level demon." Nangong Long suddenly talked about Wally's artifact. "You understand this much after only seeing the Forbidden Hand once?" Wally said with a wry smile. Nangong Long took out a diamond-shaped blue crystal from the storage space and threw it to Wally. Wally took it in his hand and looked at Nangong Long in confusion. "What does this mean? If you integrate this crystal into your artifact, your artifact will be upgraded to the level of a god annihilating tool. However, even if you succeed, the success rate is only about half. This is the latest research result of Nazarick. With your potential, even if you don't use this thing, you will be able to evolve your artifact to the level of a god annihilating tool sooner or later with your own talents. But using it will shorten the time infinitely. It's up to you whether to use it or not. After hearing Nangong Long's explanation, the pupils of the people present shrank instantly. Vala took a deep breath, then looked at Nangong Long with a serious expression and said, "Why give me such a valuable thing?" Nangong Long chuckled and said, "I like you, and I think you will succeed." "Really? Then I'll accept it without hesitation," Wally said with a smile. "Wally, why don't you think about it?" the monkey advised. "A half success rate is very high. The person I want to kill won't wait for me to become stronger slowly," said Wally. "Is it really okay for the enemy to become stronger?" Rias asked in confusion. Nangong Long rubbed her hair and said with a smile, "No problem, maybe we can work together again in the future." The battles in other battlefields were resolved one after another, and Sertzks and his men began to converge on Nangong Long. Orpheus also went to the temple. She was somewhat interested in the fact that the two Tianlongs were staying with the same person. Chapter 61. Everyone gathered together, and Azazel and the others naturally saw Vali, but they did not take action because the bigger boss was right in front of them, the infinite dragon god Ophies. "I didn't expect you to be here in person, Orpheus. What exactly do you want to do here?" Azazel asked solemnly. "Just a spectator, and to meet the host of Drake and Albion," Ophies replied calmly. "Really? I'm interested in you too, Orpheus," Nangong Long said with a smile. "What is your purpose? To destroy the world?" Azazel asked. "Silent world," Orpheus said, looking towards the sky. "I want to return to my hometown and find peace and quiet. That's not the place." "Yes, the Great Red is there, so I want to drive her away." "It seems that the people of the Misfortune Group promised to help you in exchange for your power," said Sertzks. "That's it, there's no other choice but to defeat you here. If I let you go, who knows how much trouble we'll run into," said Azazel. "Azazel can't defeat me. What about us?" The four great demon kings, Michael, the dragon Saint Tannen, and Odin stepped forward and said. Demiurge, Cocytus, and the angel sisters did not speak. Nangong Long had already told them what to do. "Even if you all come together, the result won't change," Orpheus said calmly. Everyone present frowned. They felt that Orpheus was a little too confident. Could it be that such a top-notch fighter couldn't beat her? Nangong Long smiled and walked towards Orpheus, but several girls around him stopped him. "What are you up to?" "Don't worry, it's okay, Ophies is not that irritable, believe me." "All right." Under the worried gazes of the girls, Nangong Long walked up to Orpheus. Then, in front of everyone's shocked gazes, Nangong Long placed his hand on Orpheus' head and said with a smile, "What Orpheus said is correct. Azazel cannot feel how strong she is because of the huge difference between you and her. I will explain it in a way that you can understand. Even if Orpheus only uses a quarter of her strength, she is still 2 dimensions stronger than the 2 celestial dragons." Everyone was so shocked that they were speechless. It's hard to believe, but reality is so cruel. Orpheus is so strong that it's unreasonable. Then, Nangong Long looked at Vali. "Now you know how powerful the true Red Dragon God Emperor you want to defeat is, right?" Although Vala smiled bitterly, he still said firmly, "Even so, my goal is still to be the strongest." "Really? Wow, how long are you going to touch me, Red Dragon Emperor and White Dragon Emperor?" said Orpheus. "My name is Nangong Long, you can just call me by my name." Okay, I'll remember that." At this time, a huge crack appeared in the sky, and great red flew out from it. Seeing this, Nangong Long looked at Demiurge and said, "I will leave the operation of Nazarick to you for now." "Understood. Since the person is not here, would you consider bringing a guardian?" "I don't want to discuss this issue anymore. Just follow my orders," Nangong Long said in an irrefutable tone. Demiurge bowed hastily. "Yes, I and others will complete the mission at all costs." The girls had a bad feeling, as if Nangong Long was going to do something dangerous and was making advance arrangements. Kang Na shouted at Nangong Long, "What are you up to?" Nangong Long smiled and said, "Mill will explain this to you later." Then Nangong Long looked down at Orpheus. "Orpheus, would you like to come to my side?" "Do you want my power too?" "No need, let's talk about it later." Nangong Long turned and looked at the true red dragon god emperor in the sky. The world's strongest power is about to change hands. Do you want to challenge the Great Red? Asked Offis. Yes. I don't think you can win. How do you know if you don't try? It's finally time. Drake's voice rang out. It's exciting to challenge the strongest dragon, said Albion. We don't allow you to go. The girls wanted to rush over with tears in their eyes, but they were restrained in place by Mill's magic. Mill, let me go, Rias yelled. **yen 1 --. No, this is the adults' decision. If possible, Mir also wanted to stay with the adults, but she knew she couldn't. Hitch was the first to regain her composure and said to the other girls, forget it, it seems Darling has made up his mind. The only thing we can do now is to pray that he will win. Hitch, what are you doing? Akeno swallowed her words when she saw the tears in Kurika's eyes. You guys just think I'm doomed to lose. Don't worry, I won't do anything without confidence, Nangong Long said with a wry smile. You will definitely win, Hitch said, looking at him. Of course, you have always been curious about what I would look like when I turned into a dragon. Boiler. Zero, what's your reason for doing this? Sertx asked with a frown. Reason? How about the strongest in the world? Volley, the world's strongest player needs a replacement. You are really confident. If you really win, then you will become my target, and I will still move towards becoming the strongest in the world, Wally said with a smile. Really? Then you better hold on tight. I won't stand still and wait for you. I will only get stronger and stronger. I couldn't ask for more, Wally said with a fearless smile. Senior, you have to win, the kitten shouted. Nangong Long's body began to undergo amazing changes. Dragon scales covered his entire body, wings grew on his back, and he eventually turned into a giant black dragon. There were mysterious patterns on his body, and the wings on his back did not look like dragon wings at all, but dark wings. DF. A terrifying aura burst out, and even Orpheus, who always had a blank expression on his face, showed a look of surprise, not to mention others. Sensing this breath, the true red dragon god emperor stopped in midair and looked down. The giant black dragon rose from the ground and rushed into the sky. After approaching the true red dragon god emperor, Nangong Long crushed the Krypton gold item in his dragon claws. Dreamlike Ideal World, a top-level one-time barrier type prop that costs Krypton gold. The barrier will not disappear until the two parties trapped in it have decided the winner. The space within the barrier is between illusion and reality, so no matter how you fight, it will not affect the outside world. This was done because they were both too powerful, and if they really fought, the world might be destroyed, so Nangong Long used this item. Chapter 62. The props were activated and Nangong Long and the true red dragon god emperor disappeared in front of everyone. What's going on? Where is Darling? Hitch asked Mir. If you and the Great Red vent their power recklessly, it will cause unimaginable damage, so you use props to move to another barrier space. The barrier will not disappear before the winner is decided. I will win, King Na murmured. You also felt the fluctuation of the adult's power. Do you think you will lose? Euless asked back. Of course not, I will definitely win, Long San, I will always pray for your victory, Asia said, clasping her hands together in front of her chest. Rias took a deep breath and said slowly, Hidge, this is the dragon transformation you mentioned before, right? That's right, meow. Darling used it when he saved me, but he didn't completely turn into a dragon at that time. Overall, 063 still has a human appearance, but the surface of his body is covered with dragon. The other side, Sertx smiled bitterly, it turns out that he didn't use his full strength at that time. I really have an incredible brother-in-law. Don't be so ungrateful, said Ajika. Seraflu suddenly looked frustrated. What's wrong with you, Seraflu? Sertx asked. It's over. My sister is going to be taken away from me. There's no hope of defeating him in this lifetime. You can't beat him even if he doesn't transform into a dragon, Sertx said truthfully. After Azazel recovered from his shock, he looked at Serafla and smiled, it's so simple. You just don't want to be separated from your sister. If you can't win, just become his woman. Sisters, your ability to seduce others is extraordinary. Serafel looked thoughtful. Offis walked towards Rias and the others in silence. Orpheus, what do you want to do? Euless said warily. I'm going to wait for Nangong Long to come back. What's the reason for doing this? Demiurge asked. I want to know the final result. I am also very interested in Nangong Long. I have never seen a black dragon before. Azazel came over and asked, Orpheus, judging from your perspective, what are Nangong Long's chances of winning? Not sure, I don't know if he has released all his strength. The monkey patted Wally on the shoulder and looked at him seriously and said, Wally, are you sure you want to challenge a monster of that level? To be honest, I don't think you can win no matter how you look at it. Life won't be boring this way. What's the point of living if you don't even have an opponent or a goal? Wally looked at the diamond-shaped crystal in his hand. Let's go, this battle won't end in a short time. Before anyone noticed them, Wally and his companions retreated into the space crack. When Azazel thought of Wally, he could no longer find any trace of them. Rias and the others had originally planned to wait here, but Mir told them that the adults might not appear here after the battle, so they had no choice but to return. The number of people who returned this time did not change, except that Nangong Long was missing and Offis was added. Fantasy ideal world. Roar of the Black Dragon. A huge amount of black energy rushed towards the true red dragon god emperor, who spit out dragon flames to fight back. And when one attack failed, Nangong Long deployed a huge number of magic arrays. This was the Nordic magic he learned, which was similar to a magic turret. Boom boom boom. Roar. The true red dragon god emperor released a huge aura. After fighting for half a day, Nangong Long was sure that he was stronger. After all, his strength was close to that of a world-class boss at the beginning, and with the Black Dragon ability card, which was originally a world-class strength, the two together were naturally much stronger than the true red dragon god emperor. But he didn't want to fight this battle for too long, not to mention that he didn't want to kill the true red dragon god emperor, so he decided to continue to increase his strength. The greater the difference in strength between the two, the easier it is to control the outcome of the battle. Let's start, partner. No problem, just waiting for this moment. Tianlong responded. O red dragon that dwells in my body, awaken from the hegemony. O pure white dragon that dwells in my body, retreat from the hegemony. O true red dragon that dwells in my body, cry and become king. O immortal evil that dwells in me, ascend the throne of the abyss. The source of the evil of the black feather color, the source of the evil of the black feather color. The glorious and spotless white dragon emperor, the red dragon emperor of the red lotus of karma, we who have surpassed the end will eventually witness the taboo, we who have surpassed the limit accept the oath. With infinite malice, I lead you to dance in my infinite hell. With infinite malice, I command you to bow down in my infinite hell. Black, red and white flames burst out from Nangong Long's body. After the flames were retracted, the armor covered Nangong Long's entire body, and his appearance was close to that of a humanoid dragon. The armor was mainly black, with red and white patterns on it, and its appearance was more ferocious than that of the Tyrannosaurus. This is Nangong Long's strongest state at present, and his strength is 2 levels stronger than that of the Dragon God Emperor. As Nangong Long becomes stronger, the power of the magic he knows will also increase. Blazing Fire. Although this move cannot kill the true Red Dragon God Emperor, it can still have an effect on her. Reduce all poison. Super level magic, Extreme Ice. The ice quickly spread over the body of the true Red Dragon God Emperor, turning her into a giant ice sculpture, but the freezing only lasted for a short time before she broke free. The battle lasted for about a day, and in the end, the true Red Dragon God Emperor was covered in wounds and exhausted and defeated. Nangong Long's situation was much better. Although he was injured, it was not serious. He consumed a lot of physical strength and magic power, but it was not to the point where it affected his normal actions. If we don't care about the life or death of the true Red Dragon God Emperor, the battle will be easier. When the battle ended, the barrier disappeared, and the two appeared in the dimensional gap. Nangong Long took off his armor, turned back into human form, flew to the top of the true Red Dragon God Emperor and sat down. Why don't you kill me? You've been showing mercy. I can feel it. Haha, we have no grudge against each other, why should I kill you? My goal is just to defeat you, that's all. What a weirdo, what good will defeating me do? Nangong Long did not answer this question but said, would you like to make some friends? It would be boring to fly between dimensions all the time by yourself. Friends? I don't really understand. After some effort, Nangong Long finally succeeded in tricking her into becoming his friend. Then Nangong Long took out a special magic scroll to restore himself. He had an extremely evil attribute, so normal healing magic was ineffective on him, so he had to use this special magic. After her strength returned to normal, Nangong Long took out several magic scrolls and threw them at the true Red Dragon God Emperor to heal her injuries and restore her physical strength and magic power. Chapter 63. Want to go out with me? I will continue to fly in the gap between dimensions. Okay, see you there sometime. The true Red Dragon God Emperor continued her flight, while Nangong Long left the dimensional gap and prepared to return. Nangong Long's family, the girls, gathered together with worried looks on their faces, and this situation continued after they returned home. Sister Mir, when will Long Sang come back? Asked Asia. I can't say for sure, Mir replied somewhat embarrassedly. Demiurge and Cositus returned directly to the underworld, while the Mir sisters and Rias returned to the human world. Orpheus was sitting in a corner in a daze. It's no use telling you not to worry, after all, I can't do it myself. But the master said that he will definitely win, so is it really okay for you to keep doing this? Do you want the master to come back and see you looking haggard? Euless said. Rias patted her cheek and said with a smile, that's true. You have to be alert to do this 24 hours a day. Kurika, Akeno, it's time for you to make your contribution. Hey? Meow, meow. Kurika and Akeno had question marks on their faces, not understanding what Rias was talking about. Seeing their confused expressions, Rias explained, don't you have a collection of many kinds of clothes? Yes, meow, we each picked one to wear and waited for him to come back. I originally intended to wear it for Darling, but I'll just use it this time. Me too, come to my room, Akeno said. Rias threw herself into the task of choosing clothes with great enthusiasm, and the girls felt much better after having their attention diverted. After choosing their clothes, the girls started changing them right away. Rias is wearing a devil costume, Kurika is wearing a pure white nurse outfit, and the cat is wearing a lucky cat-style puppet suit. Sana blushed and dressed up as a bunny girl, Zhenluo Chunji wore an OL professional suit, and Hwaja Adao wore a black silk short skirt. Mir and Euless also picked one each and put it on. Come back soon, I will give you a great reward, Rias said to herself. And I want one too. Nangong Long was transferred back through magic and happened to hear this, so he quietly walked over to them and said loudly, I heard it all. Ah, you're really back, Rias exclaimed. Darling, you are not hurt, are you? Long San, I'm so worried about you. The girls all gathered around at once, and were relieved to see that Nangong Long was fine. It took a while for the girls to calm down and sit down again. Azuno's clothes are nice, Nangong Long joked. Oh my, then wear this dress next time. Bunny girl, good review, Sana, as long as you like it, King Na replied with a blushing face. What about mine? And mine? The haze in the girls' noisy hearts was swept away. Off-Eyes, who had been silent, came over. You won. Yeah, Nangong Long nodded. Where is the true Red Dragon God Emperor? Continue to fly between dimensions. I originally asked her to come out with me, but she refused. The girls were surprised. They didn't expect that Nangong Long was still in the mood to invite the true Red Dragon God Emperor. Is she hurt? Nangong Long thought about it and decided to tell the truth. Yes, but I cured her. Why? My goal is just to defeat her, not to kill her. As for curing her, it is to prevent someone from taking advantage of the opportunity to attack her. Are you referring to me? No, I don't think anyone would pay attention to her. There's no benefit in that. Nangong Long rubbed Orpheus's head and said with a smile, there is no shortage of crazy people in this world, such as Li Zuaim, Li Huen, Lucifer, Miao. Who is that darling? Hitch hugged Nangong Long from behind and asked him with her head tilted. The transcendent being born from the original devil Lucifer and the devil mother Lilith Deaf. The girls gasped, what a powerful person he was. I want to stay here. Okay, Nangong Long said with a smile. Hey, why? Rias asked in surprise. I think staying with Nangong Long is the most likely way to achieve the goal. Orpheus looked at Nangong Long with a confused look, thought for a moment and then said, woo. In return, I allow you to touch my head. Rias held her forehead with her hand and said helplessly, even the dragon god has moved in. After that, everyone talked for a long time. The girls asked Nangong Long about the battle. He gave a brief description without going into too much detail. After comforting the girls, Nangong Long went back to the great tomb of Nazarick. Although he could use magic to transmit the message directly, it would be better for him to go back by himself. Albedo, Lucy, and the others were relieved. Demiurge was also relieved. Although he firmly believed that the adults would win, he was still uneasy until the final result was known. Rias also used magic to tell her brother the news that Nangong Long had returned. Demon Lord Conference Room. He when Surtsk smiled. Those present naturally knew who Surtsk was referring to. Too strong, his strength is totally in a different dimension, Ajika said with emotion. Chapter 64. After spending some time together, everyone discovered that Orpheus was not as scary as they had imagined. Instead, she was like a naive little girl, and in some ways even more innocent than Asia. If Office-chan is going to live here, then daily necessities are essential, Rias said. But what should we buy? Is there anything Orpheus wants? Asked Sana. Orpheus said expressionlessly, the great redhead, we won't do anything so dangerous. Meow, this is no longer a daily necessity, said Shinra Tsubaki. What was your life like before Office-chan? Akeno asked. Office shook his head, looking as if he was recalling something. Stay in the house, say a wish, give them a snake, that's it. The atmosphere suddenly fell silent, and it seemed that the dragon god's life was somewhat miserable. Rias broke the silence by clapping her hands and said, let's continue discussing daily necessities. Irina looked confused. There is something I've always wondered about. Is Dr. Orpheus a girl? I don't understand. They had heard from Azazel that the dragon god had no concept of gender, and that it was unintentional that he became like this. Well, what should I buy, a boy or a girl? Why not just take a look at what underwear she's wearing now? Makes sense, I don't have any underwear. Office said as she pulled her skirt upwards. Rias quickly held down Office's hand. Stop, that's enough my dear, darling is still here, but I think you can learn this trick, meow. Just buy it according to the girls' prices. Everyone went out to the department store, and Nangong Long kept holding Orpheus' hand. After all, Lord Dragon God had almost no common sense, and if he let go, he would probably get lost somewhere. Arriving at the department store, Orpheus looked around but remained expressionless. Shopping was something Orpheus had never done before, so it was basically impossible to ask her what she thought. She felt that every item was good, so in the end it was up to Nangong Long and the others to decide what to buy. When I arrived at the lingerie section, I looked down at my chest. Is it better to make it bigger? Nangong Long rubbed her head and smiled, although Ju-Ru Loli is also good, but with your current height, this is enough. I understand. Rias was in charge of choosing Orpheus' underwear, while the other girls were in charge of choosing their own underwear. Orpheus's attention was suddenly attracted by something, and he pulled Nangong Long's hand and wanted to follow. What's wrong, Orpheus? What is that? Orpheus asked, pointing at a large white mass in a child's hand. That's cotton candy. I want Rias, I'm taking Office to buy cotton candy. See you in the food section later. Good. After buying daily necessities, the girls went to the food area. Orpheus prefers sweets and keeps eating desserts. A few days later, Nangong Long went out to the agreed place. The new semester was about to begin, so he asked Kiryuika out, as they had agreed on before. Nangong Long had already arrived at the agreed location in advance, but he didn't expect that Kiryuika had arrived earlier than him. Sorry, I'm late. Lanhua waved her hand and said with a smile, it's okay, I came too early. You look beautiful today. Lanhua's face turned red and a hint of joy flashed in her eyes. She had dressed up carefully before coming. The two of them walked side by side towards the target location. Lanhua wanted to hold Nangong Long's hand but was too embarrassed to do so. After several unsuccessful attempts, it was Nangong Long who finally noticed Lanhua's thoughts and took the initiative to hold her hand. This made Nangong Long feel a little funny. The roles were completely reversed. In order to hide her embarrassment, Lanhua said, I thought you had forgotten about this. How could that be? It's just that there are too many things to do. You're such a busy man. Are you doing S*X with Rias Senpai and the others every day? Lanhua teased. I do want to, but everyone has their own things to do. Tisk, you pervert. You asked, okay. Snort. Soon the two arrived at their destination, the largest gathering place of otaku culture in Juwang Town. What should I say? You are worthy of being Lanhua, Nangong Long teased. Humph, hurry up and go buy a game with me. I heard there's a good antivirus game coming out recently. Okay, I'm here with you anyway, so whatever you say is fine. That's more like it. Tracking team. They are actually out on a date, Rias said, squeezing the telephone pole hard. Senior H. Meow, I want darling to come with me next time. It looks quite interesting. After walking around for a long time, Lan Hua felt a little tired, so the two of them went to the maid cafe to rest for a while. As expected of a homegirl, of course, a good game should be purchased right away. Since you've been with me for so long, let's go wherever you want in the afternoon. Lan Hua rolled his eyes and said with a wicked smile, you can't book a room. Ah? I didn't expect you to want to have a wild fight, Nangong Long said in surprise. Lan Hua's face suddenly turned red. It was obvious that she could not win the argument with Nangong Long. That's not what I meant. When Lan Hua saw Nangong Long looking at her with a rather interesting look, she knew that she was being teased. Humph. Lan Hua snorted and turned her head away from him to hide her embarrassment. Haha, it's just a joke, don't be angry, I'll take you to the comic exhibition this afternoon. Really? Lan Hua looked interested, but immediately responded by waving his hands and saying, No, I agreed to accompany you in the afternoon. But I just want to go to the comic convention, why are you going back on your word? Nangong Long said, pretending to be angry. No. I'll go with you. Lan Hua understood that saying he wanted to go was just an excuse. In fact, he chose to go to the comic convention because of her hobbies. When she thought of this, Lan Hua couldn't help but smile. In the evening, Nangong Long sent Lan Hua home. Lan Hua stood on tiptoe and kissed Nangong Long on the cheek. This is Xia Liz Wang today. After saying that, Lan Hua ran into the house without looking back. Is it a cute contrast? Nangong Long smiled and turned back home. When I got home, I was inevitably questioned, and then I had to coax the girl and do the daily shura scene. Chapter 65. Somewhere in the human world, Cao, Orpheus has moved into the Tianlong Emperor's house. What should we do? Go and get Orpheus back. Hold on for now. If Orpheus doesn't want to come back, it's useless for us to rob him. Besides, we don't know what happened that day, so it's better not to act rashly. Understood, then should the plan be put on hold for the time being? No need. Didn't we get the snake from Orpheus before? Let those artifact holders attack the strongholds of major forces according to the plan. Got it, I'll arrange it right away. After explaining everything, Cao used magic to contact Wally. Wally, you were there that day, right? Can you tell me what happened? Wally smiled playfully. Why should I tell you? If you want to know, just ask Orpheus. Oh, I almost forgot that Orpheus is no longer in the disaster group. Cao remained calm. He had expected this result beforehand and just asked casually. If he told the question, he would gain something. If he didn't tell the question, he would lose nothing. Of course, my hero faction will take Orpheus back, but Wally, you'd better not make trouble, otherwise I won't show mercy. As you wish. The conversation ended with the two of them arguing with each other. Is Cao planning to attack Nangong Long? Miao guessed. Maybe. I hope he doesn't die too miserably. The monkey couldn't help but feel sympathy for Cao. Cao is not such a reckless person. He won't act rashly before he finds out the truth. Moreover, he knew that Orpheus voluntarily moved into Nangong Long's house, but he still dared to say that. He must be planning something again. But then again, who won last time, said the Monkey King. I think Nangong Long won. The best evidence is that Orpheus gave up the group of misfortunes and moved into Nangong Long's home. Obviously she thought Nangong Long was most likely to help her achieve her goal. Arthur stated the result of his analysis. In the blink of an eye, the new semester has begun. Ravel took the first step towards getting closer to her idol. She had been looking for an opportunity to get in touch with Nangong Long. However, every time she attended a banquet, Nangong Long was either fighting or on his way to fight, so there was no chance for her to get in touch with him. Ravel had no other choice but to use her trump card and directly transfer to Kuo College, so that her chances of contact would be greatly increased. Sika. For example, now in the Mysterious Research Society, Ravel handed the basket in her hand to Nangong Long with a slightly blushing face. This is a cake I made myself, please accept it. Looks good, beautifully done of course, I'm very confident in making cakes. The girls present looked a little horrified. Thank you, but you wouldn't come to the human world just to deliver a cake, would you? Let me explain this, Rias said. Ravel has transferred to the first year of high school at Kawang Academy and is in the same class as Kitty. Ravel bowed to Nangong Long and said with a smile, that's it, from today on I am your junior, Mr. Long, it's okay to just call me by my name. Ravel waved her hands and said, no, that's not possible. Can I call you Lord Long? As you please. Lord Long, if you have the chance, can you have afternoon tea with me? Ravel said shyly. Okay, thank you, I'll take my leave now. Ravel left the Mystic Research Club with a smile on her face. Ah, even the opponent's sister has fallen. A dark aura was faintly emanating from behind Akeno. Hehe, when did this happen? Although Rias was laughing, it looked a little scary. Asia stared with her big watery eyes and said, are there going to be more opponents, Ming? I guess I need to work harder. The plan to have a child should also be accelerated, Zenobia said to herself. Should I join in too? Irina murmured. It's okay. I feel more at ease with you here, said Zenobia. Meow, I need to know some sexy things too, the kitten muttered. Haha, don't worry about these details, let's eat cake, Nangong Long said, changing the subject. It tastes pretty good, meow meow, delicious. While eating cake, everyone started talking about another thing. In recent days, the bases of major forces have been attacked. It is said that it was done by the heroic faction of the Misfortune Group. Obviously, Office-chan is no longer with them. Why did they do this? Rias said. It's indeed very suspicious, there might be some conspiracy, Akeno said seriously. Does Darling know anything? Irina asked. Based on the current intelligence, I have some guesses. Then tell me about it, Rias said with a smile. All the people who attacked the base were artifact holders without exception. Those who were captured would forget their memories of the previous members of the Misfortune Group and would die soon. The heroes did a very good job of brainwashing them. Rias rolled her eyes at him. Don't admire your opponent at this time, tell us your speculation quickly. Nangong Long smiled and said, you are really anxious. Hurry up, Rias said in a cute and sweet voice. Haha, the heroes obviously don't care about their lives, but not all defeated people will be abandoned. Intelligence shows that some people will be rescued, and these people have one thing in common without exception, the artifacts they hold have undergone abnormal changes. So what? Gaspard asked. Kaiba should have a deep understanding of the changes in the divine weapon, Nangong Long said with a smile while looking at Kaiba. Kaiba's pupils shrank instantly and he uttered those two words in disbelief. Forbidden move. Not only him, but everyone else also showed an expression of disbelief. Yes, the hero faction is most likely using this crude and direct method to artificially create the forbidden hand of the artifact. The host's emotions must change drastically to the point of affecting the artifact in order to complete the forbidden hand. This is why they have been attacking the strongholds of various major forces. This is too crazy, I need to tell my brother right away. It doesn't make much sense. Even if we know, what can we do? We can't just watch them cause trouble without fighting back. What should I do then? Wait, the heroes must have some big plans for doing this, they will show up sooner or later. Demiurge was busy with this recently, extracting the artifacts from the people who attacked the base. Those whose artifacts had undergone drastic changes were not arrested, and they were rounded up together at the end, so that some data on the forbidden artifacts they possessed could be obtained for further research. Of course, the most important thing is the god-killing tool held by the heroes, which is the main course. Chapter 66. 1 month later, students at Kuo College were discussing a school trip. Let's form a team. Okay, the girls are talking about forming a team. Lanhua stood up and walked towards Nangong Long. Her action immediately attracted the girls' attention. Let's form a team for the school trip. Asia, Zenobia, and Irina are also here. Isn't it nice? They are all beautiful girls. Asia is too naive, Zenobia and Irina have little common sense, you don't trust them to be with others, right? Long sang, can we act together? Okay, Kiryu is so mean, actually talking to me like that, Irina said with a pout. Lanhua is not wrong, Nangong Long said jokingly. Lanhua got there first again. Do you think Lanhua has been very active recently? That's right, it's like this at the beginning of the new semester. What do you think happened during the holiday? A girl who looked a little shy said weakly, before school started, I seemed to see Lanhua and Nangong on a date, but they were far away and I couldn't see clearly, so I might have seen it wrong. The girls were silent for a moment, and then began a more heated discussion. That should be correct, otherwise there is no way to explain Lanhua's changes. Do you think Lanhua has already done that with Nangong? 18 Don't guess, just ask Lan Hua and you'll know. The girl immediately shifted her gaze to Lan Hua, staring at her with such a menacing look that Lan Hua couldn't help but tremble all over. What was going on? Why did I suddenly feel a chill? What happened next? Let Lan Hua know the reason. The girl who usually had a good relationship with Lan Hua put her hand on her shoulder and gave what she thought was a kind smile, but Lan Hua felt that her look was a little scary. Lan Hua, come and chat with us. Lan Hua said tentatively, is it okay not to go? What do you think? The girls' group pulled Lan Hua over to discuss the matter. Nangong Long naturally saw it, but it was just a joke between friends and he wouldn't do anything to spoil the fun. If there was really something wrong, Lan Hua would have asked him for help. The girls didn't know what they asked Lan Hua, which made her face turn red. Mystical Research Society Junai hugged Nangong Long's neck from behind and lay on his back and said coquettishly, Darling, we're going on a school trip soon, and I really want to go with you. Do you want to repeat a grade? Nangong Long teased. A gleam flashed in Akeno's eyes. Good idea, Rias, please do me a favor and let me repeat a grade and go to Darling's class. Rias sneered. Impossible, Tisk, so stingy. Akeno curled her lips. Darling, you guys should plan your trip carefully. Don't wander around like Rias, who ended up not going to many places. Rias couldn't help but blush. I can't help it, it's not intentional. At night, Rias brought her family to an abandoned factory in the town. She got the news that members of the hero faction were hiding there. This is not the first time to fight against the enemy who broke into Juwang town. This month, the heroes have sent many people here. It is estimated that on the one hand, it is to achieve the ban, and on the other hand, it is to gather information. You guys are really quick on the news, Gremory. There's nothing we can do. Now that we've been discovered, we have no choice but to take action. Heroes? Rias Gremory, will defeat you here. Stop talking. Big human figures and monsters appeared again near the man who was speaking. The enemy in our side didn't say any nonsense and started fighting directly. Nangong Long watched the show from the side. He would only take action if there was any danger. After all, Rias and the others wanted to become stronger instead of being protected all the time. After a fierce battle, the enemy was defeated. The surviving enemies were sent back to the underworld. Although everyone knew it was useless and nothing could be learned from them even if they were sent back to the underworld, this step still had to be carried out. On the weekend, Old Man Odin and Barakil came to visit. Azazel, who had not been seen for a long time, also showed up. He was so busy with the recent affairs of the misfortune group that he rarely went to school. As soon as he saw Barakil, Akeno kept a straight face, and his usual smiling expression had long disappeared. Akeno basically didn't speak, but just sat next to Nangong Long and hugged his arms tightly in his arms. Please have some tea, Rias said. Odin had just looked at Rias with a lustful look when the Valkyrie standing behind him hit him on the head with a fan. Lord Odin, this is so rude. You are the main god of the Nordic countries. Please don't do such a shameful thing. It's because you are so rigid that you... Odin was frightened by Nangong Long's words before he could finish his words. Old man, it seems you have forgotten my warning last time. I don't mind at all that there is one less mythology system in the world. Zero ahem, my old problem has come back. I won't do it again in the future, Odin said in a cold sweat. Do you want me to help you treat it? No, Odin said hurriedly. Seeing that the atmosphere was getting a little off track, Azazel quickly spoke up to divert everyone's attention. Odin came here to discuss cooperation with the three major forces, but I guess someone will want to disrupt this meeting. After all, not everyone is willing to come into contact with forces outside of their own mythology system. There must be something for us to do. They can't just tell us the news, Tana asked. Recently, due to the situation of the misfortune group, we are unable to spare any manpower to protect Odin, so we want you to protect Odin. If Odin dies here, it will be very troublesome, and it may become the fuse for the war between the two mythological systems. Only us? King Na asked in disbelief. Of course not. Barakil will also accompany Odin. His strength is almost the same as mine. In terms of attack power alone, he is even higher than me. What about the people in the Norse mythology system? They also need people from other forces to protect them. Is this your sincerity in the negotiations? Nangong Long said. This is mainly because the trouble group is attacking everywhere, resulting in a serious shortage of manpower, Odin said somewhat embarrassedly. Nangong Long looked at him and smiled playfully. It seems that you, the Lord God, don't hold a very high status in the hearts of your subordinates. Chapter 67. The domestic situation is rather complicated. There's a troublesome guy who is very opposed to my decision, and the others are stubborn and don't know how to adapt. That's why I only brought a Valkyrie to the talks, Odin said with a nonchalant smile. For Odin, apart from the headache of how to get along with Nangong Long, everything else is a minor problem. Azazel nodded thoughtfully. No wonder the old man came a few days early, so this is what happened. That's right, I want to discuss something before the troublemakers show up. After some discussion, Nangong Long agreed to protect Shigong. The troublesome guy mentioned by Odin must be Loki. He is very opposed to Odin's contact with other mythological forces, so he will definitely attack Odin. Nangong Long is very interested in the knowledge of 730 in his mind about making magic beasts. Azazel heaved a sigh of relief after finishing the business. Seeing that everyone's discussion had come to an end, the Valkyrie behind Odin introduced herself. My name is Ross Weiss, please give me your guidance in the coming days. She is a rigid Valkyrie whose single time is equal to her age, Odin added with a critical hit. Ross Weiss suddenly fell to the ground and pounded the floor, crying and saying sadly, "Woo. It's not me who wants to be like this. I also want to have a boyfriend, but I'm still a virgin and I'm not willing to accept it." Woo. Odin ignored Ross Weiss and continued to speak, there are too few heroes now, and there is no place for Valkyrie. This guy was also left aside before he became my follower. Azazel smiled and changed the subject. Is there any place you want to go before the meeting starts? Odin had a lustful expression on his face. You've been in this country for so long, you must know it well, do you have any recommendations? Azazel smiled a smile that everyone understood. Understood. I will take the old man to the new store opened by a few girls over there, which is specially used to receive VIPs. Okay, let's go now. Azazel looked at Nangong Long and smiled, would you like to go together? The service is great. No. Rias and the others shouted at Azazel in a terrifying manner. Azazel made a helpless expression to Nangong Long, then left with Odin arm in arm, and turned back to say something when he reached the door. I'll say hello over there, you can go for free. Hurry and go, darling won't go. Seeing the main god she was protecting leave, Luo Siwei hurriedly chased after him. If you want, darling, I can provide you with services far better than what they provide at home, meow, Hitch said with a smile in Nangong Long's ear while lying on his back. I can do it too, I want to do it too, I don't want to be left out, Asia said with tears in her eyes. Meow, even though I'm small, I can still do it. The kitten blushed slightly. Nangong Long stroked the kitten's hair and said with a smile, it's good as long as the kitten is cute. Azuno, I want to talk to you alone, Barakil said as he stood up. Akeno let go of the arm that was hugging Nangong Long, stood up and walked upstairs with Barakil. Nangong Long couldn't interfere in such matters. Junai's knot couldn't be untied by words. All he could do was to enlighten her. The rest depended on her herself. But it's not a big problem. If it doesn't work, just let Fenrir bite Barakil and it will be solved. How's Akeno doing lately? I'm very happy now. Akeno's tone was very cold. What is your relationship with him? I have decided to entrust myself to him. Barakil frowned. I heard that he is very dangerous and his background is unclear. I don't allow you to talk about him. What do you know? He saved me when I was in danger, and he even went to the Heimjima clan to warn them personally for me. What about you? Feel sorry. Another apology. My mother did the same thing back then. Barakil remained silent. I'm going back to my room, please leave. Barakil moved his mouth, but finally turned around and left without saying anything. Junai went downstairs and walked towards her room. As soon as she opened the door, she saw Nangong Long in her room. Junai threw herself into his arms and started crying. Nangong Long knew that Junai definitely didn't want others to see her weak side, so she would definitely go back to her room instead of running to his room as usual. Nangong Long just hugged her tightly and said nothing. After a long time, Akeno gradually stopped crying and her eyes turned red. It's great to meet you. I feel the same way. Nangong Long picked up Akeno and sat down on the bed. He. This is how you trick girls. Nangong Long pinched Akeno's nose and said with a smile, give you a chance to reorganize your language. I'm wrong, please let me go. Nangong Long let go of his hand, and Junai rubbed his slightly red nose. Akeno Is this really okay? Do you really hate your father? Akame leaned her head on his shoulder and whispered, I don't know what to do. I know that my mother's death was not my father's fault, but if I forgive him, I can't hold on mentally. I'm really too weak. I just want our family to live together. Just take your time. I will support you no matter what decision you make. I just don't want you to be sad. Don't ever leave me, okay? Don't worry, I will always be with you, just don't bother me when the time comes, Nangong Long teased. Akame poked his chest with her jade finger and said, Hey, I won't do that. The next day, he began to protect the old man Odin, but he didn't always follow him. Nangong Long was not interested in bringing the girls to surround an old man, so he directly gave Odin a magic scroll and told him to tear it up when he encountered danger, and he would rush there immediately. Odin and Rossweiss were somewhat surprised, because they had never seen this magic spell before. But I didn't delve too deeply into it. After all, there are so many mythological systems in this world, so it's not strange to see one or two magics that I haven't seen before. Chapter 68. Odin had been traveling around, and it didn't seem like he was here for a meeting. Maybe he was too tired from working on his own mythology, so he took this meeting to slack off. Azazel would come over occasionally, and when they were together, their S**x appeal more than doubled. A few days later, Odin and his companions were flying in the night sky in a chariot pulled by 8-legged war horses. Lord God, please don't travel around, otherwise people in your country will judge you again, Luo Siwei Se said seriously. Don't be so rigid, that's why you can't find a boyfriend. Weavyu, this has nothing to do with the present, Weavyu. The meeting is about to begin. I hope nothing happens, Azazel said. Unfortunately, the reality is often the opposite. As soon as he finished saying this, the carriage braked suddenly. What's going on? It's definitely not going to be a good thing, Azazel said as he stepped out of the carriage. In front of the carriage, there was a young man flying in the air. Nice to meet you, I am Loki, the Nordic evil god. Loki, I think you should know that the person in the car is the Norse god Odin. Of course, I'm here to find him. I hate contact with other mythical forces without permission. Odin, even now you don't want to change your decision. Working with Azazel and the others is much more interesting than you and those stubborn guys, Odin said with a smile. Then there is nothing to talk about. I will launch Ragnarok here to bury you. Fallen angels, you'd better not interfere or I will send you to hell with me. Before you do anything, I want to know one thing. Are you here related to the group of misfortune? Azazel asked. I stopped Odin with my own will, it has nothing to do with anyone else. Azazel smiled bitterly, this is the internal problem of Northern Europe. You are also working hard, old man. After he finished speaking, Azazel decisively condensed the spear of light and shot it at Loki, followed closely by Barakiel. However, their attacks were useless to Loki, who deployed a magic circle in front of him and easily blocked the spear of light. It's useless. I'm a god, and a fallen angel can't hurt me. As expected of a mythological system that excels in magic, Azazel said with a wry smile. Rossweiss deployed multiple magic squares and aimed at Loki. In that case, use the same magic to attack. Rossweiss fully demonstrated the power of her magic turret, but it was useless and Loki was unharmed. You're just a Valkyrie, and you want to kill God? Don't be so naive. You will all die here today, come out, my son. A giant wolf appeared in front of everyone, and Azazel's pupils shrank instantly. Fenrir, the god-killing wolf, this is going to be difficult. Azazel turned to Rossweiss and said, it's time for us to use our trump cards. Rossweiss nodded, took out the magic scroll and tore it into pieces. The moment it was torn into pieces, Nangong Long sensed something and immediately transferred over with Rias and the others. It seems that you can no longer handle your opponents, Nangong Long said with a smile. If it's just Loki, we can still deal with him, but if Fenrir is added, we really won't be able to deal with him, said Azazel. Rias, don't get close to that wolf, the rest are up to you. Clear, so there are reinforcements. With this number of people, your protection is too tight. But it doesn't matter. We can just get rid of them together. It's not a big deal anyway, Loki said indifferently to Odin. I hope you'll still be in such a good mood later, Azazel said sarcastically. Nangong Long used dimensional movement to teleport to Fenrir and kicked it away. Fenrir immediately counterattacked and bit Nangong Long, but Nangong Long was much faster than it, and Fenrir could not bite him at all. It was completely played by Nangong Long. On the other side, Loki fought off the siege of the crowd, retreated to create distance and called back Fenrir. I will temporarily withdraw this time, but I will definitely stop the meeting. Nangong Long did not stop Loki from retreating, and judging from his expression, he had no intention of fighting to the end today. Nangong Long was waiting to get both the big and small god-killing wolves and the mass-produced myth Jayam into his possession. Only with the entities would he be able to better study how to create magical beasts. Please give me flowers. Azazel breathed a sigh of relief and said, Fortunately, we didn't fight to the death, otherwise the city below would probably be destroyed. I'll be leaving now. You'll be busy with this meeting, Azazel. Yes, I'll need your help then. We will also try our best to find a solution. Good. The next day, Azazel came with Shiro Kimoto, saying that he wanted to use the two dragons and Vritra to summon Mithril's consciousness. Nangong Long was also interested in the super lazy dragon, so he decided to help him. They came to a white space where Tan Ning, who had not been seen for a long time, was already waiting there. Azazel activated the magic circle and began to summon Myth Jayam's consciousness. Only when I saw the dragon with my own eyes did I realize how lazy it was. It would fall asleep before I could even speak a few words. However, before falling asleep, he was also shocked that his old enemy Tianlong actually had the same host. Although this dragon was extremely lazy, he still answered Azazel's questions seriously. Compared to the method of restraining Fenrir, Nangong Long is more interested in the dark elves and dwarves in this world. It is difficult to find their location without knowing the specific route. Due to the environmental changes in the human world, most of the creatures of this race have moved to the other dimension, and only a few still stay in the human world. Even though Nangong Long was there, Azazel still decided to ask the dwarves and dark elves to help forge the chains to bind Fenrir, just to be prepared. It's never a bad idea to have more preparations. Wally did not participate in this matter, probably observing the movements of the heroes. Of course, the most likely possibility is that the Holy Sword of Domination is not in Arthur's hands, and he cannot control Fenrir even if he gets it. The Holy Sword of Domination was in the hands of the Church, and Michael did not accept the Holy Sword for nothing. Not long after the three-party talks, he sent someone to deliver the dragon-slaying sword Ascalon to Nangong Long. Nangong Long gave the sword directly to Jeromia, as it was useless for him to keep it. However, after Jeromia received the gift, she became more active in finding him to have a child, and the other girls looked a little scary. Chapter 69. The meeting was held as usual in a hotel somewhere in the human world. As expected, Loki came to stop the meeting and attacked from the front in an open and above-board manner. King Na and her followers, who had been prepared, transferred Loki, Nangong Long and others to the battle site prepared in advance. Loki didn't resist at all and showed a confident smile. He probably thought he was sure to win. No wonder he thought so, as he was fully prepared this time. You are very courageous. You dare to attack head-on even though you know we are prepared, said Barakil with a straight face. Why not? You are the ones who are going to die, Loki laughed. The magic dragon Saint Tannen looked at Loki with sympathy. He was afraid that he would be in trouble if he was so arrogant. Tannen's gaze made Loki very unhappy, and soon he noticed that not only was Tannen looking at him like that, but even Rias and the other 390 were looking at him the same way. Hey, stop looking at me like that. Loki, stop talking nonsense. If you have any tricks, use them now. I'm very busy. Don't be so arrogant. Even if you are the host of Tianlong, you will die here today. Come out, my son, it's the same old trick, don't hide anymore, hurry up and summon the remaining little god-killing wolves and other magical beasts. Otherwise, I'll kill you by accident. You won't have a chance to use it, Nangong Long kindly reminded. Loki was shocked. He had not told anyone about the training of the little god-killing wolf, and he had not even summoned it in front of anyone. Why did Nangong Long know about it? Could it be that he could read people's minds? Loki's pupils shrank at the thought. If that was true, it would be a big trouble. He must be dealt with as quickly as possible. The people on Nangong Long's side were also surprised. They didn't expect that there was more than one god-killing wolf. If Nangong Long hadn't said this, they wouldn't have believed it. I don't know where you got this news from, but it doesn't matter anymore. As long as you die, everything will be fine. School DxD. According to the game, the god-killing wolf is actually a monster with a very high defense-breaking attribute. However, with Nangong Long's defense, it would not be able to bite him even if he stood still and let the wolf bite him for a while. Of course, Nangong Long would not sit still and let the wolf bite him. As for the rumor that Fenrir could rival the living Tian Long, Nangong Long thought that was pure exaggeration. Fenrir, who was defeated by Tyrannosaurus, could not reach the level of a transcendent at all. It was just that its teeth were powerful. Because Loki was eager to kill Nangong Long, he ordered all 3 god-killing wolves to bite Nangong Long to death. Loki then summoned dozens of mass-produced Mithraki to deal with the others. What? Mitjayom is actually in mass production. Although Tanning was surprised, he did not forget to attack. He spit out dragon fire at the mass-produced Mitjayom, but the opponent was weaker than expected. It seems to be much weaker than me. The battle here was in a stalemate, but Nangong Long was much more decisive. This time he showed no mercy at all and beat the 3 god-killing wolves half to death, rendering them unable to move. Time stops. Nangong Long used magic to stop everyone, then he appeared beside Loki and put his hand on his head. Memory peep. After getting the knowledge he wanted, Nangong Long threw Loki aside and released the time stop. Normally, after a deep memory search, the brain would be confused for a while, but Loki was a god after all, so he just felt a headache and was a little tired. Loki covered his head and looked at Nangong Long with a ferocious expression. What did you do to me, Fenrir? Skull, Heitai, come here. Stop shouting, they are lying over there. Loki turned his gaze in the direction Nangong Long pointed, and saw the scene he least wanted to see. I underestimated you, Mitjayom. Nangong Long frowned, wondering how many mass-produced Mitjayoms this guy had produced. Aura, Mare Aura and her brother, who had been hiding here for a long time, immediately appeared when they heard Nangong Long's voice. Aura helped Rias, while Mare killed the 3 new Mitjayoms that appeared on Nangong Long's side. Swampland Mare stuck his staff into the ground and turned the land into a swamp. Mitjayom, who failed to dodge in time, immediately sank into the ground. Nangong Long stayed in midair, looked at Loki and said with a smile, there is no use in numbers. I admit defeat this time, but I will definitely win next time. After saying this, Loki turned around and fled without any hesitation. You should stay here. Hidden lock. Several pitch-black magic circles appeared around Loki, and chains shot out from them to imprison him. The dark lock is not only a magic that binds the enemy, but also reduces the enemy's physical and mental strength. Loki, who was already in a weak state, soon fainted. Nangong Long had no intention of killing him. If he died, there would be no one to cause trouble in Northern Europe. As for Rias, Aura had already taken care of the situation with her high-level magical beasts. Barakiel and Tannen stared at the sudden appearance of Aura and those monsters they had never seen before with some caution. They had no idea where they were hiding before. It was not because their reconnaissance ability was too poor, but because Aura and the others had relied on props to hide their bodies before. Hij looked at the 2 and said, it's okay, meow, we're one family. Rias walked over to Aura and said, Aura sister, ahem, when did you get here? Originally, Rias wanted to call her sister, but when she remembered that she was 76 years old, older than her, she quickly swallowed the word sister. The master told us to hide here and wait for his orders. Nangong Long and Mare also came over here. I'll leave the Aura god-killing wolf to you. As for these mass-produced monsters, they will be placed on the 6th floor for the time being. Later, Kadi Store will go to your floor to conduct 3.0 research. Clear Catistel is a specialized NPC located in the Great Library on the 12th floor, responsible for studying Warcraft. Aura is a tamer, so Nangong Long is not worried that she won't be able to tame Fenrir. The only problem is how many times to activate the taming skill. Aura and Mare said goodbye to Rias and the others, and returned to the great tomb of Nazarick with their spoils. Nangong Long threw Loki to Barakiel. Recently, Akeno's knot has softened a little, so Nangong Long didn't let Fenrir bite him on purpose. He was lucky. Frankly speaking, Nangong Long didn't have a very good impression of him. He knew his daughter was being hunted, but he didn't warn her. Maybe he did, but Nangong Long didn't know what was the point of the warning. Chapter 70. The talks ended successfully and the 2 sides will carry out friendly cooperation. The 3 major forces will provide technology to Odin, and Odin will open the world tree in Norse mythology for them to study. Barakiel handed Loki over to Odin. Nothing damaged, is it? Azazel asked. No, but 2 very powerful dark elves appeared, especially one of them can actually control magical beasts, and the magical beasts are very powerful and there are many of them, Barakiel said seriously. What happened? Tell me in detail what happened. Barakil recounted in detail the process of capturing Loki from beginning to end. That's how it is. Another subordinate of the Dragon Emperor? How much power does he have hidden? Azazel said helplessly. I heard that the power of Emperor Tianlong is located in a place called the Great Tomb. Haven't you been there? Odin asked with a frown. We don't know where it is or how to get there. We can only wait for the Dragon Emperor to invite us. Rias and her friends have been there before, but they only took a quick look around. They don't really understand the details. Didn't they say anything? You should ask Surtsk's about this. He should know more. It seems there is no chance this time. After the meeting, Surtsk's went straight back to the underworld. 2 days later, the mysterious research society Odin has left and returned to Northern Europe, but Ross Weiss has been left behind. Wow! This is too much. Lord Odin actually returned alone. I'm still here. Ross Weiss sat on the ground and cried. I think the old man did it on purpose, Nangong Long said, adding insult to injury. Wow, this is layoffs. I've been working so hard, why are you firing me? It's very simple. He's so irrelevant and you're so rigid. I guess he wanted to get rid of you a long time ago. Nangong Long's words made Rossius's crying rise a few decibels. Rias rolled her eyes at him and said, Okay, stop bullying her. Rias walked over to Ross Weiss, patted her shoulder and said with a smile, Don't worry, I have arranged everything for you. According to your request, you will be a teacher in this academy in the future. Is that okay? Yeah, I've already graduated early from school in my home country, so it's no problem. Then Rias handed the documents in her hand to Ross Weiss. This treatment is too good. My previous job couldn't compare to it. Haha, you'll get better treatment if you become my follower. Rias smiled like a little devil and took out a devil chess piece and placed it in front of Ross Weiss. Think about it. Ross Weiss took the chess piece in her hand. If I go back, I'll be laughed at and demoted, so I might as well just stay here. That's right. Anyway, I turned into a devil because I gave up on myself, said Zenobia. Now, apart from the soldiers, my family members are all here, Rias said with a smile. I'm going to make you pay the next time we meet, Lord Odin. Ross Weiss smiled horribly. With nowhere to live, Ross Weiss temporarily lives in Nangong Long's house, but she probably won't be able to move out once she gets there. The next day, at home Odin returned to his country, and Barakil's mission of escorting him ended. So he came here before returning to the Son of God's Watcher, intending to see Akeno again. Although Akeno's heart not softened a little, it had not yet reached the point where her attitude changed, so her attitude towards him remained cold. What are you still doing here? I'll be back to headquarters soon. Then let's go quickly, Akeno said in a tough tone. Let me talk to him, Nangong Long, who suddenly appeared, patted Junai's shoulder and said to her with a smile. Darling. Nangong Long walked to the opposite side of Barakil and said, Let's go to the underground training ground and talk. I just wanted to talk to you. The two of them headed to the training ground on the third underground floor, and Akeno stayed where she was, somewhat at a loss. To be honest, I'm very unhappy with you, said Nangong Long. I feel the same way. In a fight, I only use taijutsu, nothing else. Unnecessary. Barakil knew very well that he was no match for the other party, but he still held on and did not want to be looked down upon by the guy who kidnapped his daughter. Nangong Long smiled and said no one cared about him, then disappeared from the spot in an instant. Hidden Zen. Black Sky Wind. A spinning kick sent Barakil flying and he fell to the ground. As a father, you were not there when Akeno needed you the most. Akeno doesn't want to see me, Barakil said with a straight face as he concentrated the spear of light. Firework fan scattering the spear of light directed at him, Nangong Long quickly approached Barakil again. Tiger fights heaven. Barakil tried to dodge, but Nangong Long was much faster than him. Even if what you said is true, what about the Heimjima clan? Wouldn't you know that they were hunting Akeno? What did you do? Did you warn them? Ahem. I am a fallen angel, their enemy. Do you think they will surrender? Barakil stood up and said. Then use force to deter. Every exorcist family has its own trump card. Regardless of whether I can do it or not, if I do that, the entire exorcist world will go to war with the fallen angels. Intellectually I can understand you, but emotionally I am still unhappy with your behavior. Barakil did not reply. The two began to fight more fiercely. Although Nangong Long has been studying magic, he has not given up practicing physical skills. It's over, royal fist, 100 splitting fist, countless fist shadows hit Balakil. She's as strong as a monster. Now I can safely leave Akeno to you and take good care of her. If you dare to bully her, I will teach you a terrible lesson even at the cost of my life, said Barakil lying on the ground. You don't have to tell me, I will take good care of her. Father, after much hesitation, Junai finally decided to come down to take a look. When she came, she happened to hear the last conversation between Barakil and Nangong Long. Akeno ran over and looked at Barakil. Father, how are you? I was just exhausted, I didn't suffer any serious injuries. Chapter 71. There was a glimmer of surprise in Barakil's eyes that Akeno was willing to call him father again. Junai breathed a sigh of relief and stood up, looking at Nangong Long and said angrily, why do this? Nangong Long smiled bitterly and said helplessly, if you don't do this, how can you face your inner self so quickly? Do you want me to watch you contradict yourself every day with a heavy face? You can be angry with me or blame me, but please return to your usual energetic big sister self as soon as possible. Not only me, but Rias and the others are also worried about you. I. Akeno didn't know what to say for a moment. You guys chat slowly. After saying this, Nangong Long left the training room first. Thanks, boy, Barakil said silently in his heart. Don't blame him. I did have a reason to be beaten. Although he's a bit lecherous, he's still a good person. You can see that he cares about you a lot. I recognize that he is your boyfriend. Akeno's face flushed. Late night. Junai quietly woke up Nangong Long. Darling, can we go out for a while? Meow. Hij, who was sleeping soundly, turned over. The two of them walked out of the room quietly and went to Akeno's room. Junai hugged Nangong Long and whispered, sorry, I lost my temper with you during the daytime. It's a normal reaction. After all, the person I hit is your father. Father looks very embarrassed, but he is not injured at all. I know you are not serious, you just want to stimulate me and make me face my inner self. Hey, I'm not mad at you, so don't be mad at me either, okay? Akeno said softly. I was never mad at you. He, I like you the most. Akeno raised her head and looked at him with her big watery eyes. Since we've already escaped, let's not waste the opportunity. Akeno stood on tiptoe and took the initiative to kiss him. The next day, as expected, the girls were furious. Akeno smiled smugly and completely ignored the horrified looks from the other girls. It was a daily Shura scene. A few days later, on the 6th floor of the Great Tomb of Nazarick in front of Nangong Long were two bodies of Western dragons, one red and one white. Combining the knowledge provided by you with the research on mass-produced myth Jam, I have successfully completed the task assigned by you, Kadi Stoll said respectfully. You did a great job. This is what subordinates should do. Drake, Albion, you will be free soon. I never thought that I would be free again, Drake said with some emotion. Yeah, Arubian agreed. I'm ready, I'm going to start. No problem. Nangong Long activated the Divine Destruction tool and used magic to extract the souls of Drake and Arubian from it. After being together for so long, Nangong Long had already regarded them as friends, and naturally did not want them to be trapped in the artifact forever. Extracting Ertian Long's soul would cause the Divine Destroyer to be downgraded to an ordinary artifact. In order to prevent this from happening, Nangong Long took out a dragon soul without attributes from his collection a few days ago and copied Ertian Long's abilities onto the blank dragon soul. Blank dragon souls are very rare. Dragon monsters in the game basically have their own attributes. There are very few dragons without attributes. What's more, you may not get a dragon soul even if you kill it. The dragon soul used by Nangong Long was not dropped by killing monsters, but was obtained by spending real money. It is of very high quality, so he used it to replace Ertian Long to operate the artifact. The big spenders have nothing to fear. The dragon souls in the game have no self-awareness, and he has experimented with this before. Then Nangong Long activated the resurrection magic. Resurrection with full health on the spot is possible only if you have a body. Direct resurrection without a body will result in a significant drop in levels. This is why he ordered people to create 2 Western dragon bodies. DFL. N. This feels really good, Drake laughed while flying in the sky. I almost forgot the feeling of flying with my own body, Arubian said with a smile. You two will need some time to adapt to your new bodies, so just stay here for now. Good, no problem. What are your plans for the future? Maybe I'll go meet the other Dragon Kings, Drake said. This era is very interesting, with strong people emerging one after another. Who knows, maybe I should go and fight them, Arubian said with a smile. Would you like to join Nazarick? We will not restrict your freedom. Okay, Arubian nodded in response. That's fine with me, partner, Drake said with a smile. After dealing with Ertian Long's affairs, Nangong Long returned to the human world. Mysterious research. What should we do for this year's school anniversary? Rias raised the issue for today's discussion. Just like last year, the haunted house. Akame suggested. Well, it's better to change it. Last time we used a real monster, Sana was very angry. How about holding a competition arena? Zenobia said with full momentum. Then no one will come. Okay, the kitten complained. Why is this happening? Zenobia seemed to be deeply shocked and her whole body turned grey. What about the cafe? Irina asked tentatively. Too ordinary, the kitten said. What do you think, darling? Akame asked with a smile. Let's set up a haunted house like last year. Rias asked. How could that be? Didn't you use monsters last time? Why not use the undead this time? Skeletons, mummies, ghosts, something like that would be nice, right? The girls couldn't help but shiver. Well, that won't scare me to death, will it? How could that be? I'll tell them to control it to a level that won't scare people to death. How about turning Gasper into a bat to add to the atmosphere? No, senior, I'm so scared. Gasper immediately hid in a cardboard box in the corner. This is a practice to train your courage, Pa, Nangong Long said with a smile. No, President, help me. Gasper wailed. Xiaoji, work hard, the kitten encouraged him. Kitten, you bully me too. Okay, stop bullying Gasper, Rias said with a smile. Vote now. I support Darling. Although I am a little scared, I support Long Sang's proposal. I also want to see the undead you mentioned, so I agree, Ross Weiss said. In the end, everyone except Gasper, who was frightened, voted in favor. I'll leave Sana to you, Rias said with a smirk. No problem. Chapter 72. The school anniversary has been settled, but what about this year's club reports? We can't put it off any longer, Junai reminded. There have been so many things going on lately that I almost forgot. Just don't hand it in. No, darling. The president is a pure-blooded devil and should be attending the aristocratic school in the underworld. Coming to the human world to study is like studying abroad. But you still have to complete enough credits for the underworld school, otherwise you will have to go back to the underworld to study. It's so troublesome. How about using my name to scare them? Forget it, let's just go through the normal process. I'm still very interested in investigating monsters. As long as you are happy, well, let's go ask the Kappa. Kappa has returned home to inherit the family business, President, said Kaiba. That's good. It's not good to always rap. Then let's go investigate the Dullahan. I heard he was hospitalized due to neck problems, Akame chuckled. Why don't we investigate Gasper? There's only one cardboard vampire like him, Irina suggested. No, absolutely not. Gasper hid in the cardboard box again. No need, just go ask her, but I don't think she will agree so easily, Rias said with a headache. Tennis court. The female students who were playing tennis were immediately excited when they saw the two handsome boys in the school coming over. Nangong classmate, look at me. Kaiba-san, you're looking at me, I'm so happy. Then look at me. Hey. Nangong smiled at me. Don't make me laugh, that's just a polite smile. It's none of your business. Can't you let me fantasize a little? Oh my, Darling is as popular as ever. Rias raised her eyebrows. Is it a mistake to come here? It's really rare for Miss Rias to come here, and Bei Qingyu walked over and said with a smile. Behind her was a headless knight holding a watermelon in his hands. It is against the rules for the headless knight to enter the academy. Haha, it's okay, the headless knight Honda is the mascot of the tennis club, CB, Rias thought about it and nodded. That's fine. Is it really okay to just change the name? Are you sure Kinja didn't cast magic on ordinary students to influence their perception of the headless horseman? Nangong Long complained silently in his heart. This time I need your help with something, Rias said. No, I don't want to have too much communication with the devil. If I'm not careful my soul might be taken away. Anbei Kinja was very determined. Rias smiled bitterly, I just wanted to ask you about the monsters. I won't do anything as exaggerated as collecting souls. I will thank you in an ordinary way. You can ask other people for help. You have such a wide network of contacts that you can't use me. Anbei Kinja suddenly shifted her gaze to Nangong Long. You must be the Dragon Emperor that has been making the rounds in the industry recently, right? I've changed my mind. Let's have a tennis match. If you win, I will unconditionally assist you in investigating monsters and demons. I said to Nangong Long with my eyes wide open. The Red Dragon Emperor and the White Dragon Emperor are rare dragons, and now 2 dragons are staying in one person, which is even more unique. No, absolutely not, Rias immediately objected strongly. Nangong Long, who had been silent all this time, spoke up, Kinja, forget about the tennis match, but the snow girl thing is something that a gorilla can't accept at all. Isn't it a bit too intimate to call you Junior Nangong? Are our relationships really that good? Angkui Kinja said. You gave me permission to call you by your name, Nangong Long shrugged and smiled. Anbei Kinja frowned. Impossible, when did I say that? This is clearly the first time we met. Alas, darling, I failed in my attempt to pick up girls. Akeno looked smiling, but she always made people feel a little scary. The other girls also stared at him with scary eyes. Kaiba smiled helplessly. Nangong Long rubbed Akeno's hair and said with a smile, What girl are you dating? I have actually seen her. Deep mountains, monsters, black nights, do you remember anything? Kinja Anbei Kinja's pupils shrank instantly. It's you, what's going on? Rias asked. It looks like there's some story going on. I'm very interested, darling, Akeno said in a long tone. Let's talk somewhere else. Okay, let's go to the tennis club, Kinja said. After everyone arrived at the tennis club, Kinja patted Nangong Long on the chest. Is this what he looks like under the armor? Quite handsome. Why didn't you show your face in the first place? Can you please tell me, darling? And Kinja, please go back to your seat. Kinja smiled indifferently and sat back in her seat. She also wanted to confirm whether the Night Yi was Nangong. It was about 4 years ago. At that time, I was very interested in monsters, so I often went to the mountains. That day, I went to sparsely populated areas to look for monsters as usual. I happened to meet Kinja, who was being chased by a monster, and I saved her. This is how we met. Rias and Akeno couldn't help but laugh. What's so funny? Kinja said with a frown. I'm sorry, I just didn't expect you to be chased by a monster. Rias controlled her expression and looked at King Mei, but there was a faint smile on the corner of her mouth. Kinja sighed and ignored them. I actually ran away from home that time, wanting to find a powerful monster to command, but you all know what happened. If I hadn't happened to meet him in a jet black armor, you probably wouldn't have had the chance to meet me. At first I thought he was a monster like the Dul Ahan. After saving me, he didn't say a word and just followed me. It wasn't until we were about to part that I realized there was a person inside the armor. Haha, mainly because I found your expression of fear and anticipation so interesting that I didn't say anything. Kinja rolled her eyes at him fiercely. Bad taste black armor? Rias asked in confusion. Nangong Long stood up. Advanced item creation. This is what happened when Qingya and I met. Then he lifted the magic, sat down and said, I left after I returned home and protected Kinja. Chapter 73. Why didn't you reveal your true identity at the beginning? Kinja asked. I don't want to reveal my true identity too early. It might cause trouble. Besides, it's good to keep a sense of mystery, isn't it? Yeah, it was the same when you saved me, Akeno said, nodding. You've passed the test. Then what did you do after we parted? I can't find any clues about you, Kinja said. I traveled around the world with different identities, learning magic, sorcery, fairy arts, and alchemy from different mythological systems. It's normal that you can't find it. Will there be so many darlings? Well, I just don't use it often. It's not a bad thing to learn more. Long Sang is so awesome. Kinja stood up, walked to Nangong Long, pulled him up, and then hugged him. This is the thank you gift we agreed on back then. It seems that the story just now is a little missing, don't you think? Rias said with a terrifying momentum. That's right, darling, I also want to know more details. Akeno smiled a little scary. Wow! Is there a new opponent? Asia said with tears in her eyes. It took a long time for Rias and the others to return to normal, and the topic returned to investigating monsters. After some negotiation, Anbei Kinja finally agreed to let Rias help her. Rias successfully submitted the club report. Time quickly came to the night before the school trip. I feel so sad and lonely when I think about you leaving, Junai said to Nangong Long with some sadness. We'll be back soon. I want to go too, meow, but the kitten keeps staring at me. I will definitely find a way to escape. Sister, what are you talking about, said the kitten. Oh, I heard you, I'm in trouble. The kitten ignored the cute sister and said, I'd be lonely without you, too. The next day, in front of the station, Rias is handing out passes to Asia and the others. School trips inevitably involve visiting shrines and temples, and having a pass will help them avoid being attacked by local forces as they are enemies. Are we about to step into the pagan territory? Zenobia muttered. I'm a little excited, Irina said happily. Take your pass with you and don't lose it, Leah reminded. Others boarded the train one after another. Rias tidied Nangong Long's clothes. I'm the same as Akeno. I'll feel lonely when you're not around. I can tolerate not seeing you for a few days, but I can't stand it any longer. Remember to think of me every day. Well, you can also think of Akeno and the others, but you have to think of me more. In no mood then, Nangong Long stroked her hair and said with a smile, because you are always in my heart. Rias, who was originally very sad after hearing the word don't want to, turned red in the face and emitted steam after hearing the following words. You are so smooth talking, don't try to pick up girls during the school trip. After giving instructions to her family, King Na also came over. Rias quickly took a step back and turned around to prevent Sana from seeing her red face. King Na hugged Nangong Long for a while and then let go. Have fun and remember to bring me a gift, please give me flowers. And Rias and the others watched him leave, and only returned to the academy after the train disappeared from their sight. On the train, Nangong Long sat in the seat by the window, Asia sat next to him, Zenobia and Irina sat opposite him, and Kiryuika and her friends sat on the other side of the aisle. Lanhua had a conflicted expression as if he wanted to go but couldn't because there were no seats left. Asia, come to me. Asia blushed and sat on Nangong Long's lap. It's my turn next, darling, said Irina. Then I'll be the third one, Zenobia continued. We discussed this issue when we got to the hotel. Lanhua, come and sit down. I think you want to say something. Lanhua stood up and sat in Asia's previous seat. You have a very detailed observation ability. No big deal, let's discuss this trip. Is there any place you want to go? I want to go to the Kinkakuji Temple and the Ginkakuji Temple, said Zenobia. I want to go to Tenryuji, which has the same name as Darling, Irina smiled with a gleam in her eyes. Where's Asia? Wherever Longsang goes, I will go. Asia really likes you, tell me where you want to go. You decide. Haven't you done all the research? Okay, leave it to me. I will take all your ideas into consideration and arrange a perfect itinerary, Lanhua said confidently. After the train arrived at the destination, Azazel and Ross Weiss, who had just become a teacher, began to explain the precautions. Chapter 74. Ross Weiss began to promote the benefits of the 100 yen store. Although Rias paid her a high salary, she was still so frugal. She only bought discounted items and didn't dress up at all, but she was pretty and could be willful. Then you will be assigned a room, and then you will have free time. However, you must come back on time and you cannot go too far to play. After dismissing the students, Azazel went out to find a place to have fun. After getting the keys, the students began to look for their own rooms. The boys' and girls' rooms were on different floors, with 2 people in each room. However, Nangong Long was special in that he had his own room. After the girls packed their luggage, they went to his room together. Hey, you have your own room? Lanhua asked in surprise. Lanhua rolled his eyes and said with a wicked smile, would you like me to sneak down to accompany you at night? You must be lonely alone. Before Nangong Long could say anything, the other 3 girls spoke first. No, if that's the case, I'll come too, Asia said with her big watery eyes. Well, then I want to have a baby too, Zenobia said calmly. Well, then I can't not come, Irina said a little embarrassedly. Lanhua waved his hand and said, that's impossible. Ms. Ross Weiss will definitely check the room, so we need someone to cover for us. If there's no one in the room, we'll be exposed. Then I won't let you come by yourself. I will keep a close eye on you, Irina said seriously. Irina and Ika shared a room, and Zenobia and Asia shared a room. Lan Hua smiled bitterly and said, I was just joking, don't take it so seriously, you know that the three of them will definitely be punished. That's right, let's not talk about this. Time is limited, we have to quickly confirm the itinerary. I recommend going to a shrine not far from here, which enshrines the Fox Fairy. What do you think? The other three girls turned their eyes to Nangong Long, obviously waiting for his decision. Well, let's go here shrine, there are many interesting products here, said Zenobia. Wow, what a cute fox doll. Asia showed a cute expression. Let's buy some when we return, Lan Hua suggested. Good, there are still quite a few people visiting the shrine, and Lan Hua and his group start to move forward with the top of the mountain as their destination. You guys have really good physical strength, Lan Hua said. Let's slow down a bit. No, I can still keep up. If I try harder, I'll reach the top of the mountain. The environment here is really nice, Irina exclaimed. There are a lot of pagans here, but the architecture here is really great, Zenobia said excitedly. Well done, pagans, that's awesome, they both said in unison. The dead gods will cry if you two continue like this, Nangong Long complained silently. Hey, there's a community temple up ahead, let's go there and pray. Lan Hua's proposal was immediately approved by the three members of the church. The four girls stood in front of the community temple and made their wishes. Nangong Long did not pray but just watched them from the side. He did not think that the so-called gods could do what he could not do. Please bless me and Long sang to be together forever. May everything go well for darling and me. I found that I seemed to have fallen in love with my good friend Nangong Long, but there are so many rivals. Please bless me and him to make smooth progress, Lan Hua prayed. Unlike the other three who prayed in their hearts, Zenobia said it out loud. Please bless me to give birth to Nangong Long's child smoothly. Although I am a pagan, please bless me. Thank you very much. Hey. I want one too. Please bless me to give birth to Long Sang's child. It won't work if you say it out loud, Lan Hua reminded. Is that so? Zenobia said with regret. At this time, Lan Hua fainted without any warning, and Nangong Long instantly appeared beside her to support her. He also felt some kind of power acting on him just now, but the power was too weak to be used against ordinary people, but it was still not enough to deal with him. Careful after hearing Nangong Long's words, Zenobia immediately took out Durandal, which had just been transformed not long ago, from the alien space. Durandal was too difficult for Zenobia to control, so Nangong Long directly handed Durandal and Ascalon over to the Dwarf Kinghorn to transform them. The final product is the one in Zenovia's hand now. A copy of the Sword of Kings is made into a changeable scabbard that covers Durandal's sword, and Ascalon is embedded in the scabbard. When you want to use it, you can modify the mechanism to separate it, or you can use the three holy swords as one, complementing each other and greatly enhancing their power. Even if Zenobia exerts her full strength with her current strength, it won't last long, but the power can be adjusted by herself, and she can control the rhythm of the battle. Irina also untied the enhanced king's sword, which was disguised as a short rope, from her arm and held it in her hand. A little blonde girl with fox ears on her head and a fox tail behind her appeared in front of the shrine, and around her appeared Tengu and some strange-looking monsters. Why are you okay? If you were a human, you should just fall down. Hiding one's own strength is a normal skill. If Nangong Long does not actively remove it, he will look like an ordinary human being. Since you look a lot like Unai-chan, I will have someone use magic to make you forget these horrible memories of episode 5.0. Go ahead, catch these outsiders and rescue my mother. I have no idea what you are talking about, Zenobia said. Xiaozhu's Hong, stop. Hey? Unai-chan's voice. You damn guy actually imitated Unai-chan's voice to deceive me. It seems that you are not an ordinary person. Although I don't know where you got the information about Onai-chan, you are wrong about one thing. Except for that face, you don't look like Onai-chan at all, said Kunu angrily. What do you mean by imitation? I am the real person, okay? Little Jukong, I took you out to visit amusement parks and aquariums. Did you catch Unai-chan too? Damn it, I'll make you pay. Kunu became even more annoyed.
If you're enjoying the story so far and want to hear the next parts, don't forget to like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And if you'd like me to continue the series, drop a comment below letting me know. Your feedback and support keep these audiobooks going strong. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.